one. Hello, fellow movie crusaders, and welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we are starting episode 7 of the Movie Crusaders ride through the Star Wars galaxy. Yes, we are now into the new trilogy. We have Force Awakens, and then the big main event of The Last Jedi to go with our predictions episode, and then, of course, Rise of Skywalker. With me today is my co-pilot, my Jedi brother from another mother, Jay Burns. Jay, are you ready to talk Force Awakens? Because I know you and I are going to have probably the biggest odds about this one.
Oh, man, I've been waiting for this one. There's only one video I'm waiting for more than this, and that's coming up very soon. And that's going to be me versus Mr. Kirk Kowakowski, because we have differing opinions, to say the least, about the next movie. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about
you and I have different opinions about this one.
You know what? I don't know if we do anymore.
Really? You've changed.
We will have a conversation about this during this movie.
Are you gonna make me happy? Are you gonna make me happy?
I'm gonna fucking shit all over this movie, Doug.
Right below him is usually the mediator of the group, but then he's also kind of the dirty uncle as well. Brian Michaels. Kinda, yeah, okay, yeah. Don't make me
dirty uncle. Come on.
Don't make me open Pandora's box there, Ron Howard. Brian Michaels, how are you doing today?
I don't know who Pandora is, but stay out of her box. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
see, there one did it already. Minute
2
2.
minute mark.
2
minute mark, and it's done.
No, but I'm happy to be here. Love to talk Force Awakens. I had to miss the last couple episodes, but I'm glad I'm here for this one.
All right, and new with us today. He's been begging to get on these episodes. He's been waiting. Finally, the time has come. Ryan Permison, welcome to episode 7. How you feeling? You excited to be on the show? You ready to talk Force Awakens?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me. I have been waiting for this for a very, very long time. I did a little bit of homework before we went on air, so I am excited. I am ready to go into a galaxy far, far away.
Perfect. Short and sweet. That's the way we try to like to hear Movie Crusaders, but it never goes that way. So yeah, Force Awakens. It obviously, we had the original trilogy that's very beloved. We had the prequels, wishy-washy. To most people, this guy right here, and that guy right there. I'm gonna eventually get the hang of the angles for people with cameras. I don't know how Ryan feels about the prequels, but the new trilogies, very, very conflicted for most people. I actually like the new trilogies. The new trilogy, first off, especially this one. For me, I love Force Awakens. It is probably my favorite, if not one of my favorites. I love everything about this one, and we're gonna get into why I love so much about this one. Jay, I know that you're not a fan of this one, but go ahead. Overall thoughts of Force Awakens.
I don't hate this movie. I hate how much people fillet this movie. That's the one thing that I don't like about it. Nobody seems to be able to point out shit that's not good with this movie. The only thing anybody ever wants to talk about with this movie is the exact opposite of what they want to talk about with the next movie. All they want to talk about is what they like about this movie. There are things wrong with this movie. There are things wrong with every Star Wars movie, whether it's wooden dialogue, whether it's...
We have definitely gone over in these movies.
We definitely have, but I mean, it's not, it's not a Shakespearean piece of artwork here. It's not sonnets and ballads. It's people talking, and sometimes people can't do that well, even if they're being paid millions and millions of dollars. I like this movie. I don't like this movie as much as everybody else does, and maybe a defensive shell is grown around my heart for this movie, because nobody seems to be able, like I've rambled on before, nobody seems to be able to point out certain things about this movie that they don't like. It's always, oh, I like this. This makes this better. Even taking this into consideration, I'm just ignoring that. I actually really like this movie. It's top 5, but yeah.
Well, okay, that's better than I expected from Jay. And Jay, as well as I do, I can talk about this movie and Last Jedi while still liking both. I know you're not talking about me, because I can
talk about fans in general, but
exactly.
Star Wars fans are toxic as fuck. Have you seen us?
What?
I mean, did you watch Empire Strikes Back video that we did? we attacked the.
That's my favorite one, and I tore that movie to fucking shreds.
We tore that movie to shreds, yet we love that movie. And Force Awakens, I'm sure, will be no different. I'll just probably be more on the defense for it. But Brian, what are your general overall thoughts of The Force Awakens?
Force Awakens, I went into very optimistic, but cautiously so.
Why is that?
Well, because after waiting however many years after the original trilogy, in anticipation, Phantom Menace came out, and I was just all hyped, gung ho. It's Star Wars. It's going to be awesome. And look what happened. And so I went into this one going, are they going to learn from their mistakes? Hopefully, I'm not going to get burned again. We're not going to go back to the abusive boyfriend relationship here. It's coming back. But I went into this so very cautiously so, but I ended up actually very much loving it. I mean, like people are saying, it has its problems, and I'm sure we'll cover that, especially the fact that it's so similar in its story beats and things, but we'll get into that. But I don't necessarily have a problem with those, but I do acknowledge those. But I really enjoyed the movie. Once I finally got into it, I liked it a lot, and I actually was able to enjoy it a little more because this is the first one I was able to see with my kids in the theater opening night. That same experience. So that was awesome.
That wasn't on TV screen and stuff like that.
Right, because they watched all the previous 6, and then this is the first one that they were there and they could see with me in the theater. So.
Gotcha. And Ryan, I guess from your reactions so far in this short amount of time, you're going to be kind of the fan who has never watched us before, who experienced everything that we say today. I apologize ahead of time because we pulled over.
Jay.
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah. Jay, we all are pretty rough. I can already see Brian's. I don't know how Brian's going to make it through this episode, but yeah. Ryan, how were your general thoughts of Force Awakens?
Well, first, let me start off by saying I apologize that I don't have as cool a backdrop as the MacGuffin Brian Michaels over there because I love that one poster, maybe not so much the second one. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The marketing campaign, it worked for me. When I heard Abrams was coming in to direct this, I'm like, he rebooted other franchises. He killed it with Mission Impossible 3. He did well with Star Trek 2009, even though I'm not the biggest Trekkie. But anyhow, I love this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. I had so many smiles. I pretty much a smile on my face during the entire 2+ hour runtime. I love the cast. I love the story. Does it have similar beats? Yeah, sure. Doesn't bother me. I just loved it completely, and I will defend this film to the grave. To me, it is my favorite film so far in the Star Wars saga, and I saw it 6 times in the theater, and I will sing its praises and just love the poster that I do own myself. It's framed. It's just not hanging currently on my wall, but don't worry, it'll get there when the new film comes out. But yeah, I love this movie. I really do.
Mine is oh, never mind. I thought I was on my disposable webcam, but no, mine's right up there.
It's okay.
It's not. I got Last Jedi behind me right there, and I got Force Awakens right up here. Nice. Yeah, should I just take a back seat for this episode because it seems like Ryan's got it covered. Ryan pretty much embodies everything that I feel about this movie. But yeah, I agree with Abrams taking the helm. Like I said, I'm not a big Trekkie either, but he did a solid job with Star Trek. It made me want to watch a Star Trek movie. So knowing that he was going to take the helm with this, definitely put it in a lot better of a drive because there was no more George Lucas is in charge. It's JJ, Disney. Like I said, take it or leave it with the Disney part of it. But with JJ in charge, we knew that we were going to get a more stylish version and definitely way fucking better dialogue.
Lens flare filled.
What's that?
I said lens flare filled.
Yes, we were gonna get some lens flares, but you gotta have your trademark. That's his trademark. Come on,
he's got it.
Every director's got their trademark. Martin Scorsese likes slow, drawn out crime films. Spielberg likes just anything that's to do with summer popcorn flicks, and Michael Bay likes blowing shit up and adolescent humor. And JJ
and also the low pan.
Yeah, the low pan. Yeah, and JJ loves his lens flare. That's good.
Low pan. No Big Trouble in Little China.
Pork Chop Express over here, baby.
Yeah. So, let's go ahead, dive right in. First off, I mean, because we can all say we actually all saw this in the theaters. Because I know with some of the prequel ones, like Mark, he was like, I didn't watch these in the theaters. I watched them when they were out. These ones we all saw in the theater. I was there opening night. I'm sure all of you were there opening night.
Opening day, IMAX 3D, Doug.
Yeah.
And then again the
Nice.
next day, and then again 2 days later.
Me and my grandma and my cousin, like 3 days in a row at the theater, saw this.
And I mean that was the crazy thing about this film to begin with, is that yes, the only thing we 100% knew for sure was that Han and Chewie were going to show up. We didn't know anything about Luke. Leia, I think we knew Leia was going to be in it, didn't we? Or did Leia?
She was in the trailer.
Yeah, but Luke was the big thing, and then of course the crawl starts, and the first thing is Luke Skywalker has vanished, and it's just like what kind of thing. Because like I'm doing right now, and Jay's doing the same thing, and Brian's doing the same thing. Brian, I don't know what you're doing with this, but we are basically blacklisting anything Rise of Skywalker right now because we don't want to be spoiled. We don't want to see anything. Literally, I was watching the football game tonight. A trailer came on, and I went la 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 la.
I closed the app until it was over. I was like, 2 minutes. I can wait.
Because I don't want to see anything. I saw the teaser trailer. I saw the first trailer. After that, I was like, I'm done. Don't show me anything else.
We're 10 days away. We're not going to ruin it now.
Doug, you pressured me into watching the final trailer, and I was like, bro, you're a dick.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like, bro, they didn't show me anything new. I didn't need. It's basically the teaser trailer with like 15 extra seconds added to it.
Here's the thing, though. Last time with Last Jedi, I went like because they released that second trailer like 3 months before, where it was like this one was last month. That was a hard 3 months to get through. And after I saw The Last Jedi, I went back and I watched that trailer. I go, did I waste my time and torturing myself by not watching it? And yeah, there was stuff in there that would have been like, oh, that would have given something away. Or that would have.
Skywalker turns it back to Rey and says, it's time for the Jedi to die. I was just like,
yeah.
Okay,
even the start of the Imperial fight with Rey and Kylo. I'm like, wait, why are you
fighting the Praetorian guards? Yeah.
I was like, that you don't give that shit away in the trailers. God damn. So
Abrams is all about the mystery box, though. He's good at marketing without giving anything away.
I will give him that. I will give him that. Although I didn't need 7 seasons of Lost.
I do like Lost, though.
Whatever.
But
thank you for the on the fly correction. I'm sorry. It was 9 seasons, but it was 6 seasons, but it felt like 15. All right.
But yeah,
for
some of us.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved that we were going into this with no fucking idea what the hell was happening, unless you read before and stuff like that. Which, like I said, we blacklisted it. We didn't want to know anything about it. So going into this was just completely open eyes, not knowing what the hell was going to happen. I thought it was really cool. I also love. I don't think this was intentional, but the opening shot, as soon as they get down to the crawl, and they go down, and it's the moon, and the ship is flying up. I'm sorry, that is totally a middle fucking finger.
It looked like
that is a middle finger.
It looked like a cross to me. So I was like, okay, so Bible Man's popping up somewhere.
It looks like a middle finger going, fuck all the haters as it's going up. I loved it. But yeah, Luke Skywalker has vanished. We find out, we find out why, but we open up to, what was the planet, Jay?
It's Jakku.
Is it? Yeah, it is Jakku.
Yeah, they're on Jakku. I don't remember the name of the village, but Max von Sydow's there.
That's what I was.
The three-eyed raven's there, so it's got to be important.
That's what I meant. It was the village, not the. I knew it was Jakku. I don't know why I didn't think like that.
Yeah, village on Jakku. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we like I said,
Raven outpost.
Yes. No. We see the three-eyed raven from Game of Thrones. We see Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac.
It's Lore Santeca. He's not three-eyed raven. Anyway.
Yeah, it's Lore Santeca.
Right,
Brian. My bad. I know his name.
Brian's having a spaz attack because we are not using his real name and we're calling him a
actually,
it's
yeah.
Well,
anyway, we get to introduction to Poe Dameron. Don't really quite know what he is yet. He's just talking and they're talking about Leia.
He's a human being, sir.
You know what I mean? We don't know what he is in terms of the character of the show yet.
Yeah.
We get introduced to BB-8, the toy that sold a shitload of toys.
And Funko Pops.
The cool, yeah. I don't like the Funko Pop.
Hold on.
What?
Okay, so this is what irritates me, and this is where I will defend this movie.
Okay.
Actually, this is where I will defend this. No, this is where I will defend this movie.
Really?
Everybody's like, "Oh, this is a Disney cash grab," right? Because we get BB-8 toys, and we get all these little toys, and I'm like, "Doc, do y'all not remember Kenner toys? Do y'all not remember every single action figure that came out? Do you not remember the re-release of those toys in the 90s? Do you not remember
all of them?
Yeah. Do you not remember? I know Brian does because he's got a Coleman Trebor fucking action figure.
I got everything.
but this is what I'm saying. Like, people are like, oh, this movie's influenced by Disney. Star Wars was designed to sell merchandise. This was an entire franchise set up around the idea to sell merchandise.
Movie merchandising came from Star Wars, essentially.
Basically.
Yeah.
Let's be real. A bunch of fucking teddy bears won a war, and then everybody wanted to buy the teddy bears.
Yeah. And then Kevin brought this up when we were doing last episode with Jedi, is that when we went to Jabba's palace, it was basically just introducing all these new action figures. Yeah, we had the Fortuna, we had Jabba the Hutt, we had the Rancor, we had the I still can't remember their damn names, the Warthog Guardians.
The Morian Guards.
Thank you, the Mori Guard. We had the little
Salacious Crumb.
Like
Kowakian monkey lizard.
I'm sorry, still sounds like a freaking Harry Potter character to me. But yes,
he did look like Dobby after like a 3-month binger.
He did. So BB-8, I mean, BB-8 was it was something new, something practical, or something cute. Because yes, R2-D2 still is my favorite character in Star Wars of all time. But Ryan, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
You're allowed to interject and talk, bro.
Okay.
You don't have to mute.
I'm definitely gonna do that a lot.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for you to finish. You're talking about R2 special port.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, R2 is my favorite character, but yeah, we needed some kind of. The whole point of this new trilogy, while yes, we integrate old characters, is to integrate new characters, fresh blood, and BB-8 a new fresh droid, as well as Poe and Rey and Finn and all of them. But yes, we get the introduction to BB-8, we get the introduction to Poe, and right off the bat, like one of the coolest shots for me is those stormtroopers in the ship.
Yeah.
Darth PD2. Darth PD2 for the ride. But I love that shot when it's in the ship and the lights
blinking lights, yeah.
And it's just like, and you see it's a new design, and these stormtroopers are good. Like
they can fight.
They hit their target.
Like, they're actually precise.
Yes, they are like the New Hope. They are the New Hope stormtroopers. They actually know how to hit targets. They kill. And even then, that one shot.
They have flamethrowers though.
They
do. In the scene, they do have flamethrowers.
Lightsaber guards. They have lightsaber guards.
Like electrical. Yeah.
That character, because that character is not going to go untalked about. But I mean, these stormtroopers are awesome in terms of like actually something that we're seeing that's actually good in terms of their characters. And
you realize that kind of fixes a big old plot hole from episode 4, right?
What's up?
I said you realize that kind of fixes a big old plot hole from episode 4, right? Where everybody thought that it was Boba Fett who nuked Owen and Beru. They're showing us stormtroopers with flamethrowers. It was stormtroopers.
I've never heard anyone say Boba Fett did.
Yeah,
dude, I've heard so many people are like,
people are stupid then.
I mean, Guinness says in the movie, like only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Yes.
And I mean, because Obi-Wan even says that it's stormtroopers because of the block.
In that scene,
ever heard Obi-Wan.
I understand that. Y'all don't need to explain it to me like I'm 5. I'm just saying I have heard it said that a lot of people think that it's Boba Fett.
Okay.
So Jay's not dumb. He just surrounds himself with dumb people.
It's not when I use big words, I get to tell them to look it up in a dictionary.
So about that village.
Yes. So about the village, one other great shot is, and like I said, because we brought it up in all the Star Wars films so far, is that they don't really do blood. They did blood in New Hope when he chopped off what's his name's hand in the cantina. But that visual of that one stormtrooper dying, and leaving that hamper on Finn, but we didn't know it was Finn yet. just that once again, showing the visuals of war.
Yeah.
Beautifully shot. Like that's a J.J. Abrams decision.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful decision.
Mhm.
And then of course we get the introduction to Kylo, which I'm sorry, if you need a better pimp style entrance, if you need something to match Darth Vader, you stop a fucking blaster coming right at you, and you freeze it, and then you hold it the whole time, just
until he gets back on his ship.
Just to get the shit out of the stormtroopers afterwards. Just show I can control this and do other things. Kylo, great entrance, but then once again, and then this is something that Jay brought up that people were complaining about with Last Jedi, humor. Because what happens? Poe gets caught. What's he do?
You talk first. You talk first.
It's hard to hear with you all that stuff.
Apparatus.
Oh,
also, nobody's ever caught a blaster bolt in midair before, so I'm gonna Last Jedi complain. That's a force power we've never seen. That's not canon.
Well, Vader could catch it. He just didn't stop.
No, he didn't catch it.
Deflected
it. He didn't. His fucking glove smoked, bro. He just caught it with his robot hand.
That is
true.
He
fucking just let it bink, and then pull Han Solo's fucking blaster.
Plus, also introduction-wise, instead of choking someone out like Vader, well, he basically broke his neck, but he strikes down Three-Eyed Raven. I said that's for Ryan.
I'll show you the dark side.
Yeah, and it's just so. I mean, look, a fantastic debut for Kylo, and then also the ability to freeze people. That's a new one as well. The whole like they can't move kind of thing. Like that's a new one as well. Which is really great to do in Jedi Fallen Order, by the way. But yeah, great interaction between him and Poe. I mean, like I said, we got comedy throughout this movie. It's not like laugh out loud, blah blah blah, but it's humorous.
Got levity.
Keeps you on your toes. Yes, levity. Keeps you on your toes, and it's great, memorable quotes. Jay, thoughts on the opening? Yes, I know I skipped over the BB-8 getting the flash drive dealy, but thoughts on the whole. Let's go whole village scene. Jay, thoughts on the village scene?
I don't hate the village scene. Like, we get to Battlefront. Don't hate it, fucking Kevin. I don't hate the village scene. It introduces us to Kylo Ren. Just to stay with my own natural flavor of this. Kylo Ren sounds like the Sith War reenactors from that episode of Futurama, though. My name is Darth Erderer. Like that's really my only issue there. Like, okay, cool. This is where like the similarities to A New Hope start too. Now we have this giant menacing bad guy. We don't have a face. He's got a fucking he's got a voice modulator, and he's threatening people.
Okay, no, let's let Jay get it all.
But
out.
I don't hate this scene. It's just this is where like my issues with this movie start. Is it's been talked about before. Beats that mimic the very first one. That's what this is a soft reboot in a lot of people's eyes, not really necessarily a continuation. A continuation and a soft reboot mixed together, and you can kind of see that it comes down to the same thing. A lot of the same plot points are there. A sandy planet that somebody has to get off of. They use the Millennium Falcon, another fucking Star Killer base. It's a giant fucking Death Star. Just call it a Death Star. You're slapping a new name on an old piece of fucking machinery. But we'll get to that later. I really liked the opening scene as much as I have.
And I'm gonna argue the same fact that you and I have had this conversation with before off screen. Yes, it has very similar undertones to A New Hope, but so does Last Jedi with Empire Strikes Back. It does.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I will cop to that, but not as hard as this movie does.
It's also the first one.
No. It doesn't matter whether this is the first. It doesn't matter if this is the first one in the trilogy or not, bro.
I'm just saying you can't use that as your crutch of argument in this whole thing. Because
that's completely fine. I can argue that one better when we get to that. But what I'm saying is this is literally, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, don't make it look too original. Don't make it look
there's
too
enough,
similar.
There's enough different things in this to not be a carbon copy.
I didn't say a carbon copy.
Okay.
Brian, thoughts on the village?
Okay.
Not the Shyamalan shit show village in the scene.
First just on the village. the movie starts out. I thought it for me. It took a few minutes to really feel like Star Wars. I'm watching the movie. Like I said, I went into it very hesitantly. Cautiously optimistic. But I kind of liked what I saw. But it was that moment where he caught the blaster bolt. That's where I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome. Something about that moment I really liked. But I liked the introduction of all the characters. With BB-8, I think that they did an excellent job in this movie of creating a character who was cute and fun, but without being too cheesy or corny or childish, kind of thing. Like they tried to do with like Jar Jar Binks in the past, or sometimes they try and put what?
He's a puppy.
Yeah, but I think that he was definitely. People use the word cute a lot, and he is. He just a cute little thing. But it wasn't. It didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel like product placement to me. It didn't feel like it was something just put in there for the kids. It felt natural. So I like BB-8. I'm trying to think what else in the opening scenes.
Kylo and Poe.
Yeah, Kylo and Poe, like you said, I like the levity. That was your first introduction. The first thing you really hear. Well, I guess you hear Poe talking to Los Santeca, not Jar Jar, things like that. But I mean, when his first interaction with Kylo Ren, you do get that levity, and you kind of see his personality. That's the first kind of thing where you really get to know who he is, the kind of person he is. So I enjoyed that. As far as I'm just going to comment briefly, because I don't want this to overwhelm the entire discussion of the whole episode. The whole thing about it following the same story beats. I absolutely acknowledge that very much of this movie follows the same story beats. You have this young person who's just kind of a nobody on this dirt planet, and they end up getting swept up in this battle with a big dark villain with a mask, and then there's this Star Killer base is definitely Death Star and all these things. I acknowledge it. If you said this, if you told me this was not a sequel, if you said, hey, look, they're going to remake Star Wars, somebody's going to reimagine Star Wars, and this was it, I would totally believe that. This is A New Hope remade. The thing is, I have no problem with that. I really like this movie, and it followed the same story beats. I acknowledge that, but I think they changed it up enough and made it different enough that it's its own story. I think that it almost kind of is a reference to kind of how cyclical everything is. I mean, yes, you get rid of one menace, you get rid of the Empire, this new thing forms its place, and the whole battle's going to start all over again. So I really had no problem with that. So yes, I think that there are familiar beats, and yes, maybe in some cases a little too overt, but I still enjoyed the hell out of the movie and didn't take me out of it at all.
Ryan, thoughts?
Yeah, the opening scene was a good setup. J.J. Abrams knows that in order to bring the original fans back, as well as introduce new fans to this franchise, you got to use familiar things. You got to use maybe some familiar beats from other films of the Star Wars saga, and that's fine. It works, and it works really well for this new film with The Force Awakens specifically. Really good opening scene. Kylo comes in, he owns the place, he blows stuff up, he tells all the stormtroopers to kill everyone, because in New Hope, there are still a few rebel fighters who have their hands raised and they're, going to cells or whatever. In this one, they're like, no, we're not taking any prisoners. We're gonna kill you all because we don't care about you. I like it. I like it's the dark side. I don't drink the dark side coffee as much as I drink the Jedi side, but still, I get what you're going for. So in this scene, it just works. It works. Familiar beats work. Some of the newer stuff works. The new characters, introductions, fantastic. I enjoyed it.
All right, and yeah, like I said, and I guess I know for people who are watching, I skimmed over Phasma, but they don't care about Phasma in these movies, so why should we?
Yeah.
All in agreement on that?
Phasma is one of those things that
Wasted
not only
characters.
did the character kind of look cool, but you knew they had Gwendolyn Christie, another Game of Thrones alumni, and you thought, oh, she's going to be this cool character, but in true Star Wars fashion, they create this kind of cool character and then they just kind of waste them, which I understand not every character can be this big deal, but it just that's one that I had a lot of hope for that they kind of fell short on.
She's a cool character in books, and the additional media that you get of her.
What's
she's
a
good?
Jay, not everyone.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Outside of the movie, yeah.
Also, like, her armor is made from the same shit fucking princess that Queen Amidala's ship was made from. Nice little change right there.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's set in the compendium books that come along with the movies.
Now who's being the nerd? Yeah, actually, the what material used to make her armor.
Actually, but anyway, Next,
I wonder if she had Republic credits trying to get a hyperdrive for her armor.
probably. Anyway, next we get obviously the big introduction to our main character of the franchise. We get Rey. We kind of go through a day in the life of Rey. We see her scavenging through what I guess I'm assuming that was a Star Destroyer that she was in at first. It looks like a Star Destroyer anyway. We get that fantastic visual of her riding her
speeder.
Yeah, her speeder over past that Death Star. We basically see that she's a scavenger. She doesn't get paid a lot in food. She's basically looked at as a second-class citizen, kind of like what we talked about in terms of droids in the previous episodes. And apparently, if you put a little bit of powder in some water, it grows to a big thing of bread. But to me, the one thing I love about Rey is yes, Luke, it was a normal guy. Rey's a normal girl. But here's the difference. Rey's not a whiny little bitch.
She also doesn't have a family.
Yes. She can handle herself. When something does not seem right, Rey runs towards it and punches it in the face.
With that staff.
When he hears BB-8 in trouble, she doesn't go, that's not my problem. She goes towards it. When those two guys try to take BB-8 from her, she beats the shit out of him. Rey will just mess you up because she's bored. That's basically it. She's bored. She's got nothing else better to do. One of my favorite shots of the day of Rey was when she was just sitting there and just like a little kid just took the Rebel helmet. Just put it on. Let's face it. Who one of us wouldn't fucking do that? Just sit there, put that helmet on, just chill. And she's
living in a walker carcass too. I mean, come on. That's awesome.
I know.
I mean, come on. How can you not love this girl? Ryan, introduction to Rey. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm of the understanding that I know a lot of some of the new characters in this saga, and they've done previous works before this movie. But for me personally, I didn't know who any of these actors were. I didn't know who Oscar Isaac was. I didn't know who Daisy Ridley was. I didn't know who John Boyega was. I had no clue. But the introduction of this person, this character, this girl is just wow. She's incredible. She's a powerhouse, like you said before. She can handle herself in any situation she's in, whether she has training or not. She just, if there's a situation, she fixes it no matter what it is. If she has everything at her disposal or not, she goes for it no matter what. So her introduction is really cool. I think just the moment the camera just goes to that, the destroyed Star Destroyer, you see her goggles, you see the little light, and then she goes down, she takes off the goggles, takes off the mask. It's like, oh, well, hello there. All right, new character. I'm in. Let's do this. I want to see some beats. Yeah, that's right. I took off the top of my head and I said, hello there. Yeah. In my great Alec Guinness accent. So, but no, in all seriousness though, great scene, great introduction. And this actress, not just throughout the course of this movie, but she just has a bright future, period, as an actress. So she does an incredible job.
I agree. Jay, what were your thoughts on Rey?
Bro, she's got a hand crocheted. She's got a hand knit fucking Rebel Alliance soldier.
That's right.
In the flight suit and shit. I think there's like one thing that we all kind of glossed over. She's OCD as shit. I don't know if you remember the scene, but she's literally marked her days on the wall.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's OCD at all.
That's not OCD. That's just life.
Prisoner.
I think that's incredibly OCD.
No, that's just someone working off the calendar.
It's like marking the day is still her parents.
Come back, supposedly.
Her parents are never coming back, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
She still has
any kid who's been abandoned is going to still hold out that hope.
Dude, they're always going to have hope, man.
Batman was abandoned by his parents because they died. He doesn't hold out hope that they're coming back.
Because they're dead. She doesn't know where they are.
She doesn't know where her parents went in that starship, dude.
Superman doesn't hold out hope. His cousin's still alive and he doesn't give a fuck.
His parents died too. Hers just flew away.
Yeah, in that starship.
They're gonna come back.
Yeah, they went out for a pack of space smokes. They'll be back.
Hey, nice product placement there, Brian. Thank you.
All right. Well, is that all that Jay has? Is that she's OCD?
Yeah, seriously.
We also skipped over Simon Pegg.
We're talking about Rey right now, but yeah, Simon Pegg is definitely for people who don't pay attention to the credits. Yes, that is Simon Pegg.
1/4 portions.
There are a lot of Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Trek alum in here too.
There's a lot of nerds in this movie. It's awesome.
Well, I think
They're all
basically
friends of
anybody
JJ.
who had an in with like J.J. Abrams, somebody's like, who's not going to be like, hey, can
Greg
I get a
Grunberg.
cameo in your Star Wars movie?
Daniel
Greg Grunberg.
Craig.
Yeah, well, exactly. There are people that they're like, I don't want to be a character on screen. I just want to be able to say I was in a Star Wars movie, and so they'll be Stormtrooper number 4. You know?
Brian, what were your thoughts on the introduction to Rey?
I love Rey. She is by far my favorite character of the new trilogy. I mean, obviously she's kind of the star of it, but I actually tend to not usually gravitate towards the central character of a lot of movies. I like some of the side characters, but in this case, I just love everything about Rey. I think that Daisy Ridley did a great job.
Yes.
I love the introduction of her, like I said, living in the walker, the AT-AT carcass. And then, like you said, with the doll, with the helmet, and all that stuff, and you just, like you said, it was just a day in the life, and you saw her just kind of living her life, and she wasn't, she didn't come across as a hero. She doesn't come across as anything. She's just
getting by.
A kid, basically. I mean, she's not quite a kid, and I think what helped this up in a big way was.
Do we know how old she is? Like, is that at all?
I think they've said.
I
I'm
think
going to guess
she's in her early
19-ish.
20s at least.
20, I don't know, yeah.
I think she's 22, 23 in the film.
But I think what helped this in a big way is her Rey's theme by John Williams.
Oh,
I think, I mean, we'd already heard the first major new theme with Kylo Ren when he introduced him. But now with Rey's theme, it was a very light theme. It was kind of it's just like you said, kind of day in life kind of thing. And it was just character Rey, but it wasn't like a love theme or like a royal feel to it like Leia's theme kind of is. This was just, I thought it very well helped establish the character.
I want to retract something that I've said multiple times through these episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Jay's a bitch?
Oh, jeez.
No, wait, that Jay's a bitch?
You're retracting that?
No, not that.
Oh, jeez.
That's staying hard.
Hey, too much information.
So it was. Remember how I knocked you McGregor in episode 1 for smiling?
Oh,
for smiling?
Yeah, remember
smiling.
Remember because the whole first 15 minutes, Ewan McGregor cannot get a line out without smirking. Same thing with Qui-Gon Jinn, and it always bugged the hell out of me.
I see.
And then there was someone else. Who was it? Was it who was the other one I knocked for smiling? Jay, you remember? I can't remember. I can't remember either. But they're a lot of these actors, and Jay's response is, "Dude, they're in a fucking Star Wars movie. They're excited."
They should be.
Exactly, but it was like with Ewan McGregor, I was like, I hold him at a higher standard. He shouldn't be smiling every 5 seconds.
That was the character. He was a young Padawan at that point.
I get
he was in his early to mid 20s.
I didn't see that as a problem at all. I saw it as the character.
It was his first mission too. We found out as when we went further into it. But yeah, Daisy Ridley can't stop smiling through this whole fucking movie. She is. When you get to that first time, she talks to Finn, and like Finn just said that Poe's dead. And she's just like smirking the entire time. And she's like, BB says he's going to take us to the Resistance. Well, yeah, he's got a Macaroon shot. Luke Skywalker. I was like, okay. It's like, okay, apparently that's just the thing. People just got to smile when they're in a Star Wars movie, unless they're the bad guy.
I'd be smiling.
And that's what we all kind of says, that we would all be smiling. But now that this is like the third or fourth person that we've caught, that's just grinning ear to ear the entire
I didn't even take note of that.
Yeah, neither did I.
I don't feel that at all.
I'm just here to have a good time with the movies, bro.
It's just like she's just all teeth, right? Daisy Ridley's an all teeth smile kind of girl.
Well,
so that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, it's Daisy Ridley, bro.
It's more noticeable for her when she's smiling because she's just all teeth. But I wanted to retract that. I apologize. Yes, it is very, very exciting to be in a Star Wars film. They have every right to smile, but sometimes it's like, why are you smiling? You shouldn't be smiling in this moment. But one thing I personally loved is sorry, Brian distracted me. Bad Brian.
Stop doing that.
Sorry.
Bless you.
The escape of Poe and Finn. That TIE fighter sequence. Whew.
So much fun.
First time we actually got to see legitimately how a TIE fighter is the way it is.
How two pilots work together.
How to pilot it, how it moves, how it shoots. Because, I mean, every time we've seen a TIE fighter fight, they're you see the outside, and like in the first film, you got to see like the TIE fighter guy just do this, and that was it.
And it comes in black. It's awesome.
Yeah, red stripe with a red stripe.
It's great.
Yeah, that whole sequence, and then once again, levity.
Yes.
Onward resistance. You need a pilot. I need a pilot. Like great back and forth.
Just keep walking. Just keep walking.
My favorite moment of that whole
I'm talking to myself.
Is when he goes to take off and it's still tethered.
Attached to the cord.
It's like that could have been silly or dumb, but I thought it worked very well, and I thought it raised the tension too, because everybody's like getting ready to start shooting at him and stuff, and that was my favorite moment of that segment.
What I like about just this scene itself in general, you got a great action sequence, him flying by all the ships,
and you're shooting all these stormtroopers.
You got great banter back and forth between Finn and Poe before and while they're in the TIE fighter. You get who actually finally gets his name. You get the introduction to Hux finally at this point as well. Also, another Game of Thrones character pops up. The what's his name? The kid. He's the
Love Actually kid. I don't remember his name.
The Love Actually kid.
So many GOT alums in this film.
He's got a small cameo in it, but he's in it. But yeah, I love this action sequence, and it left you kind of, I wouldn't say the cliffhanger because you find out literally within the 30 seconds what happens, but they don't clearly get away. They get shot down at the end of it, and we're basically caught in a cliffhanger of what happened to Poe. Like I don't think any of us really thought Poe was dead, but it was just like we didn't see Poe for like another hour after that. But
yeah,
Brian, what was your thoughts of the TIE fighter sequence, the breakout of Finn and Poe?
Well, I liked the first meeting of Finn and Poe. I thought that was played very well. Whereas kind of like, we'll get into it later, but the whole instant friendship thing, I thought I didn't really buy into that. But I did think in that moment, in that scene, how they're like, hey, I can help you, you can help me, we need to get off here, you're a pilot, I want to get out of here, let's go. I thought that worked very well. They got in the ship together, the whole tether sequence we already discussed. It also gave us the first look at what Abrams seems to really love, and that is, while there are, I don't know, there's actually been a full space battle, maybe some slight battles, but Abrams likes to have his spaceships versus ground forces. They're like attacking on planets and things like that, as opposed to space battles. And here we see, like he said, like Ryan mentioned, he's like, you see the TIE fighter gunning down, people in the hangar there while it's trying to get away. And I really, that was kind of a new look, something we hadn't really seen before, which that's what I love seeing in Star Wars. Is while there are familiar beats, we're seeing new things with every scene. And so I like that. And then once they get out, that whole space battle, like you said, I like the way we kind of learned how they work together. We learned how the guns work. And then, it subverts your expectations because you're like, oh, they're going to get away. Nope, they crash.
I mean, because that's the thing, too, is that we're accustomed to a certain kind of dog fighting or space battling from the prequels. Even in the prequels to the original, we're accustomed to a certain type. And this is kind of going in a very in-your-face in terms of it. Because obviously, technology's better. We also got 3D capabilities now. But just the way he shoot, even I know it's all CGI, but the way he's shooting some of the angles of this fight, it's new, different, and exciting just to see the way these things move now. And we'll get into a little more into that with the Millennium Falcon debut. But Jay, what were your thoughts on the TIE fighter sequence?
I don't hate the TIE fighter sequence. I actually really like the fact.
Started off with I don't hate.
I don't. Because you've kind of been building it up that I hate this movie and I love The Last Jedi. So
it's always one at every party, huh?
You sure have built that up, not me.
But before he starts going, I will say one thing I'm not sure how I feel about. I kind of like and kind of don't. Is the whole naming of Finn. Where he's like, oh, I don't have a name. It's FN 207. Like, I don't like that. I'm going to call you Finn. And it's like that moment was a little bit cheesy, but it was okay.
It was F and Finn.
Yeah, it's a little silly for him to just decide to name him, but at the same time, I guess that's just who Poe is.
But do you really think that Finn, who doesn't have a name, would say no to Butthead? You know what? I like that, Butthead.
It's the only name they ever gave me.
Yeah, it's like Poe could have named him anything, and he probably would have been like, okay. It gives Finn not ownership, but it gives Finn purpose.
Personhood is what it gives him.
We go from a guy he's brought up completely as a stormtrooper. That's all he knows. He sees for the first time something wrong, going, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be this. And to make that decision, go ahead, Ryan.
I just thought of something. His designation of FN 2187 wasn't that the cell that Princess Leia was in A New Hope 2187?
No. So like 1138.
No. We gotta
She was
find out
in
which
cell
cell this Princess here is.
2187.
Oh.
On cell block 1138. But yes, Kevin pointed the exact same thing out in the chat. I wasn't going to bring that up, but you're not right.
So I was wrong then.
No. You're right.
You were right.
Okay, because I was like,
right.
wait a minute.
You and Kevin were just
There's a cell block and then there's the cell.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off,
and that's a cool little Easter egg. Like I said,
that's just something I just noticed just now.
JJ loves doing that. Jay loves sprinkling little Easter eggs throughout this
Love
thing.
that.
As I was watching, I was going, ooh, but it's not taken away from the story itself. It's like a, if you know Star Wars, you'll notice this.
You've heard these numbers before.
Cool moment kind of thing. But Brian, yeah, you were still going.
Oh no, I just wanted to mention the naming part before we went to Jay. So go, Jay can go now.
Right,
how stupid do stormtroopers have to be?
They're not bright. We've accomplished.
I understand that they're not. I understand that they're not bright. But how does Finn get the single most guarded individual on this space station or on this spaceship out? Ren wants to see the prisoner. Like there wouldn't be like a chain of command that they would have to go through in order to get him out. Like
you're going into semantics at this point.
I'm not. That's not semantics.
Is there a history of stormtroopers being intelligent? No.
I mean, kind of.
It's called
the Clone Wars.
Jay, how is that different than when Luke Han went to the cell block with Chewie in New Hope?
It's 30 years after that. We're not talking about clones anymore, and we're not talking about the Empire clones. This is the First Order. This is an entirely new thing.
They were programmed from birth.
I mean,
they were brainwashed from birth, but
as Huck says.
So were the Jedi.
Yeah. Which if these guys now we're no longer dealing with clones. We're dealing with these people who are brainwashed from birth and they're just trained to do nothing but be these
obedient.
Soldiers. Then why are my other thing with that is that there's these moments throughout the movie where Finn is like, like Finn meets Rey is like, hey, does she have a girlfriend or does she have a boyfriend? Like, well, how would he even know about that kind of thing? And if he's nothing but trained,
you got a boyfriend?
No, but he asked. He's like, do you have a family back home or something, or do you have a boyfriend, like a cute boyfriend or something?
It just seems out of place for somebody who's been trained for nothing but soldiering.
Brian, there are clearly girl stormtroopers. If Phasma,
that's true.
There are clearly.
And there's another one that does make an appearance in this film later on.
So
you can't tell me that Phasma's a girl stormtrooper. She doesn't have girl armor.
She is, bro.
Hashtag knocking chrome boots.
Anyway, get over it.
Anyway, what I'm saying, breastplates match everybody.
Yeah, seriously.
But clearly there are female stormtroopers. So why would that be a hard thing to figure out?
I don't think they give them like recreation time.
Probably
anyway.
They don't get any time in the yard. So.
No, but they probably not time in the yard. So they time in their bunk beds.
Why is the top bunk moving so much? Don't worry about it.
Bless you.
Stay on target.
FN 2187. FN 2187.
Just get out.
Use the force, Finn.
That's not how it works.
Ryan, thoughts on the TIE Fighter battle that you haven't already mentioned?
I know, seriously, bro. No, but by rewatching this film, that scene again, that's one of the scenes that definitely put a smile on my face. We get to see more of the interior of TIE Fighters, get to see a little bit ins and outs of the new Star Destroyers in this film. So we got to take out these cannons. We got to take out these cannons. Otherwise, we're not going to get very far. So it's exciting. It's thrilling. It puts a smile on my face. So yeah, it's a great scene. And it's a good introduction to how Finn gets his name part. I can see how that could be considered cheesy, quote unquote, but I roll with it. I enjoyed it. I like it. And Poe Dameron's one hell of a pilot.
Yes, he is. And he gets mentioned that quite a bit. But I mean, it's still cute. You gotta treat Finn like he's a teenager. He's very gullible.
Can you fly a TIE Fighter? I can fly anything.
No, but he's super gullible, and the way Poe is in terms of conversation, Poe's gonna be like, I'll use you till I can't anymore. I'll be your best friend till you're not useful anymore, and then I'll kill you if you try to turn your back on me.
I'll shoot you in the back like Diego Luna in Rogue One.
Exactly. Yeah. And Finn is just like, you're the only person I know that can get me out of here. So let's be buds. And Poe's like, okay, cool, let's be buds. Yeah. So
that's something we've never seen before. Is a defective stormtrooper helping a prisoner escape? Like we've never seen that in a Star Wars movie.
That wasn't like Luke and Han already dressed in the stormtrooper thing, but
but like
they're
similar to it.
No, I was agreeing with you. So like with Ryan or with their relationship being so boom, 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 I understand that. I get that because Finn, you got to kind of treat with kids' gloves a little bit because he's so not where everyone else is in terms of because of how he was brought up. So like even in the situation where clearly they got to have movies in this thing because Finn definitely has seen a old school film. Because just like when he tries to go to save Rey, he sees the girl in trouble. He runs towards it. Then Rey fucks those people up, and then he's like, "Oh shit, she don't need help." And then he keeps trying to grab her hand like a man in a movie would. Like clearly, there's movies in Star Wars.
Quit taking my hand, and then she grabs his hand
because
like,
she's
You all right? Yeah, let's go. Let's get out of here.
But I want to say this part, so Rey beats the crap out of the two guys who try to take BB-8. Finn stops, and then BB like looks over like, jacket. And he's all like, what the hell? I'm sorry. You see Rey running at you with that face, you fucking run. She's looking at him like, I'm going to kill you. And he books it. I love that moment so much because like Finn doesn't know what the hell's going on. He just sees this girl beat the crap out of two dudes, and it's like, you. And it just goes. I love that moment. You know, we get the first interaction of those two together. We get BB. Then, of course, stormtroopers, TIE fighters, they all start attacking. Like I said, we get the whole stop grabbing my hand. And then, of course, it leads to the introduction to. And, yeah, last night we were saying they were both called pieces of junk. And it's not. It's called garbage in this one.
Luke calls it a hunk of junk. She calls it a pile of garbage.
Yeah, she says. No,
that one's garbage. The garbage will do.
Yeah. And then, I'm sorry, that moment in theaters, when they said that's garbage, I was like not even correlating at that moment. And then it turns and you see the Falcon.
Yeah, we lost our minds in the theater the first night. My brothers lost their minds when they saw it.
I just went like super smile.
Back.
Yeah. Love that Joker smile.
I understood that reference and I love that reference so much. Yeah. I love that.
And then of course they get in and I love once again as they're in the Falcon. I can do this.
I love that part.
This thing moves fast.
Because once again,
this gunner.
You have that element of doubt. Like they're
just the way they cut between the two of them. He's like, I can do this. They go to her. I can do this.
Saying the exact same thing at the exact same moment.
Because it's once again, we're not doing that thing where they're heroes. They just got it down. They don't. And she drives that Falcon like shit at first.
Go low. It confuses their radar.
She's dragging it on the ground. She's skidding it across everything.
Talk about not getting a scratch on your vehicle. My God.
But that is, like I said, I love the Kylo stopping the blaster. I love Rey's introduction. I love all that. I love the TIE fighter sequence. But this chase sequence with the Falcon, with the two TIE fighters chasing it, and them maneuvering, this was what made me love this film. This is the
shout out to Rey flying the Millennium Falcon by herself
first time
without a co-pilot,
without a Chewie,
and then pulling like fucking U-turns and shit, and like
we need cover. We're about to get some.
Yeah, the way he maneuvered that fucker, like that whole sequence, I was just like, just watching because we finally saw the Falcon the way the Falcon's supposed to be, in my opinion. The way it shot at the TIE fighters. The still like said Brian with when he was a kid, moving the seats, working you around. Just
you know what this scene reminds me of? What? This chase scene reminds me of me playing with the Millennium Falcon toy as a kid.
You just running around.
Yes, even the small little one.
Yeah,
I would try to pull off impossible shit all the time. With it, be like, haha, Han Solo could never do that.
Because the Millennium Falcon was inverted. Bullshit.
And every time we play Battlefront 1 or 2, we have the Falcon and we're flying it like an idiot and we end up crashing and dying. But this is what we were trying to do, is what was in this movie.
This one was inverted and it was a really good move.
Same thing with TIE fighters.
That last shot where she literally and then
yeah.
Mwah. beautiful.
Goes off the planet.
This is the scene that made me go, I literally, unless they fit the bed, I fucking love this film because this gave me what I've always wanted, and that is the Millennium Falcon being the Millennium Falcon.
The thrills.
Ryan, thoughts from I basically covered Finn from Jakku to them basically getting off Jakku. It's a lot to cover, but general thoughts of all that.
Yeah, covered like 20-30 minutes of footage. It's awesome. We're gonna get this done so much sooner than I originally planned.
No,
we're not.
No, we're not, bro.
No,
we're not.
not.
We'll be here for 6 hours.
We're an hour in, and we're 33 minutes into the movie.
30 or so minutes in.
For us, it's right on track.
Good,
awesome.
awesome.
You basically just called a perfect game, and now they're gonna start hitting the ball on us. So good job on that.
I didn't mean to jinx anybody, but anyway, the point
is,
you
just forced my hand.
I'm not trying to, but anyway, no, you pretty much covered it from A to Z, from beginning to end, from top to bottom, left to right. Use words together as a sentence. It's fantastic. My brothers and I went to see this. I think this was the second or third time I was seeing this movie. That was their first time, and I was like, they're gonna lose their minds when they see some of this shit. And to see the smile on my middle brother's face, who was sitting right next to me in our friendly neighborhood Cinemark, # not a sponsor. I was so happy for him because it's like this is what we go to the movies for, is to smile and to enjoy this and to live it up and just cheer our, lose our minds, lose our voices, lose our hearing, everything. It was awesome. It was great. And the chemistry between John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, it starts to build and you can start to feel it. It's like, boy, do these casting directors know how to cast a film. They just, it's a perfect thing.
It's not clunky at all. It just flows.
No.
So I think that's
it's
just the
smooth
natural
as
charisma
velvet
of all three of them, to tell you the truth.
Well, yeah.
Because even Oscar Isaac, Brian said he had a hard time believing Oscar Isaac's and John Boyega's, instant friendship.
Bromance, yeah.
Personally, I believed it. I bought that. Like it to me that it came a little quick, but it was incredibly natural.
I think
especially if you're gonna find yourself in a situation like that,
and he just can't trust.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this film. It's just the direction of it is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I really like about this movie, and we can talk about it a little bit more like later. J.J. Abrams did something that I really liked in this movie. He didn't set up a romantic interest. All of the romantic interests,
batting it away.
Well, no, that's just it. All of the romantic interests that like everybody talks about, Raylo, Finn and Ray, or Faye and Finpo, all of these created by fans, created, headcanon by people who watched the movie. And I think Movies with Mikey said it best in his breakdown of this movie. He did it most likely to stay away from the fact that love equals the good side and hate equals the bad side, because they basically kind of condemned Anakin Skywalker for falling in love with Padme. It was ultimately his love, not the shitty writing by George Lucas that made him fall to the dark side. But the fact that this movie is completely devoid of that, but there are two people who have abandonment issues in this movie. Ray has abandonment issues through the fucking roof in this movie, and Kylo Ren may be the abandoner, but it still gave him abandonment issues. And
we'll talk about that too.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and had it not been for some of the other channels here on the YouTubes, it probably would have taken me a lot longer to get to that. But it's one of those things that creates a depth to this movie that like not a lot of people see when they just look at it from the surface.
And the Falcon scene.
Oh, dude. Come on, I already told you, bro.
I just want to make sure I'm giving you time.
No, you're good. You're good. Everything she did with the Millennium Falcon, I did it 20 years ago. I was 9 years old. I did it 20 years ago.
But
When I was playing with toys. Bullshit, bitch. You don't know my imagination. No, it was actually fucking. Yeah, I'm like the Simpsons, Kev.
Gee willikers, man.
Brian.
I really enjoyed it.
Brian, your thoughts?
The Falcon scene was incredible. I mean, the guys have all covered it. It looked amazing. I think the effects in a Star Wars movie or any movie for that point, it never looked better up until this point. I mean, it was well done, and of course, again, the John Williams music helped out, and it's very, very kinetic, very enjoyable. But also, I remember seeing this in theaters. One thing I loved about it is this is one of the segments that opened up to the full IMAX aspect ratio,
Yeah,
which unfortunately, so far, I don't believe it's available on home video at all in the IMAX aspect ratio. But in the theaters, it was just like you saw it opened up to full IMAX, and you saw the Falcon pulling these maneuvers. It was just like, oh my god, you know. And so really enjoyed that. And then again, you just got back to the whole chemistry between Rey and Finn, because I did feel at times throughout this movie and in the next movie as well, they kind of almost seem like they're trying to tease a little bit into a romantic angle, because at least on Finn's side, he seems like he's a little enamored with Rey. But again, they never, at least so far, who knows what'll happen, but they never went full tilt into that. I totally buy their friendship. If they ever try to do more than that, I'm not sure I can buy that, but I really like the relationship with them. And just, I mean, again, the levity, I think Abrams is very good at adding levity into a scene without taking away from the scene or seeming like it's one-liners. Like, people criticize Marvel movies, saying that, they just throw out these one-liners and jokes they just shove into the movies, which I'm okay with, but those are a little bit lighter movies. But in a Star Wars movie, he's able to add little dialogue and jokes. Like, there's the moment, I'm not sure if we gotten that far and how far you're going, but when she's trying to fix the Falcon, it's like, nope, the other one, the one I'm pointing at over there. It's like little things like that.
Great segue, Brian.
Yeah, little things like that. I love it.
I love that moment. I do. But yeah, no, that whole moment with when she's like, look where I'm pointing, and then of course we get that one moment with Finn and BB-8.
BB-8.
Like, which has become a gift for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, buddy. One last part on the Falcon before I stop. The one thing that was very exciting for me, and like I said, I brought him up many times in this video, even though he doesn't watch these, because God forbid him trying to learn how to use YouTube. My dad, like I said, he brought me into Star Wars. When the special editions got released in theaters, he took me to see them in theaters, the prequel, all that stuff. With this one, because his two characters are Han Solo and Yoda, and when that scene of the Falcon came on, because I went and saw it by myself once, because he doesn't. I think somehow Maria had to work, and I was just like, well, I'm going. I'm sorry, I'm not waiting on you. We'll go see it tomorrow. But like, once that Falcon scene was happening, all I did was just look over at him, and seeing him at his age, which at the time he was in his 60s, just going, that beautiful. Because even him, he's never seen the Falcon like that, and him just seeing it like that was beautiful for me to watch that, because this is the guy who showed me everything Star Wars, who brought me into everything Star Wars, and this moment just totally turned him into a kid, and I love that moment. But yeah, we get back to the non-mushy shit. So we get, once again, even we are actually going into mushy shit as well. We get the reintroduction of Han Solo and Chewie. Now, I will say this: if there was a sequence in this film that they could have cut, it was the Reptar scene.
Mm-hmm.
Not needed at all. Just because, it was 10, 15 minutes of sequence that they probably could have kicked out of this film. I would say. I like everything on the Falcon. What, Jay?
So I gotta disagree with you on that.
You like the Reptar scene?
Ooh.
It's not that I like the Rathtar scene. It's that, yes, it's our first introduction. Again, it's our first reintroduction to Han Solo and Chewbacca. The Conja Club and the Guavian Death Gang. We kind of need this to set up like what he's been doing, and I would much rather see it here than in I would much rather see it in action than in like an exposition dump. No,
what I'm talking about is the elongated version of when the Reptars got released. Is what I'm talking about.
That's all. It's only actually about 5 minutes.
It was
but it was unnecessary.
But it wasn't about Han.
Well, no, here's my thing. I guess I'll just go first because I'm going to cover this.
Han Solo doing Han Solo.
What?
That's Han Solo being Han Solo.
Yeah, but you could have cut out when the Rathtars escaped.
It's about Finn getting grabbed, Rey having to figure out how to save him, and then running through, and you get like one sequence with Han where Chewie gets shot in the arm, and he gets to use the crossbow gun for the first time, which great, I love that. But it was just, if there was a scene to take out in the film, I still like the scene. It was like, if there was a scene that needed to be removed, this is where they could have cut something. Go ahead, Brian. You said you wanted to talk.
Oh, this whole segment. First of all, the reintroduction of Han and Chewie. Han, I've never been like big fan of Han and Chewie. Not that I dislike them at all. I like all the characters in Star Wars. But like some people are like, oh yeah, we get to see Han and Chewie back in this movie. And honestly, I was in the camp that I was fine if this movie had nobody from the original trilogy in it. But I had no problem with them being in there. That being said, that moment when they open the door and he says, Chewie, we're home. I mean, that's kind of, it's really a cool moment that they're back on their ship. And I thought it was cool the way that they were not introduced in this movie flying the Falcon around. It's like other people got the Falcon first and they came to it, and it kind of had that feeling of coming home. After that, I mean, the whole meeting of Rey and Finn with Han and Chewie, that was all fine. But I agree that Rathtar sequence, the actual monsters and everything, that whole sequence very easily could have been cut out of this movie. It felt like just shoved in for an action beat. Even the creature just didn't feel like something out of Star Wars. It felt like something out of a different movie.
To me, it's one of those things where they could have released the Raftars and then gotten the F out of there.
Yeah, like you got the Guavian Death Gang in that. If my biggest complaint about this section, this scene, is that they put in 2 of the stars of the raid, who I thought was the coolest thing they're going to be in this movie, and then they're in it for like 30 seconds and they do nothing. I'm like, what?
And Mark Ellis.
You couldn't have made them
Conjure Club.
You couldn't have made them like Knights of Ren or something. Let them do something cool. It's like, come on. But so I mean, again, that's just a matter of people doing little cameos in this. But those are just two people who they could have done so much with. So I mean, yeah, the Rathtar sequence I would have gotten rid of. But it was still cool to see Han and Chewie come back.
Ryan.
Okay, just going over that scene.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Where did all these floating dead kids come from?
Anyway, to going off the scene that we're specifically talking about here, if you had told me that Mark Baby Carrots Ellis was going to make an appearance in this movie as the leader of the Kanji Club, I would have said you were crazy. But to see him in this, no, he wasn't in this movie. People like to think that he was. But I know. I can totally see him pulling it off though, and winning an honorary Oscar for it. But that's neither here nor there. The point is,
tell him that it's on the Millennium Falcon, and you can catch me on stand up here in Chicago, Illinois.
The Conjure Club. It's great. But yeah, if there was one thing that I maybe disliked or would like to have taken out of this movie, JJ, I love you like a brother, man. But if I had to take something away from this, it would be the Rathtar scene. Get it out of here. It's unnecessary. I don't want it. We don't need it. It's just taking up 5 minutes of airtime that we don't need. But other than that, like when we've already said it. When Han and Chewie come back after what 32 years of being in Del Boca Vista in retirement. Getting their Falcon back, it's fantastic. It's a wonderful moment. Once again, my brothers were smiling and grinning from ear to ear. Love that Joker. They were loving it, and the Corellian death gangs. We get to see not much, but a little bit more of the inner workings of the criminal underworld that we never get to see. That was cool. So yeah, it was fine, but it was in some way, shape, or form, it was a bit of an unnecessary scene. But Han and Chewie getting their Falcon back, that was. I'll let it go.
And Han being a donor for the crossbow gun.
Yeah, that too. Can I use that? This is way better than mine.
Ooh, you've only had this gun for like ever. I've known you.
I was gonna say, how hard can I believe it? It's been this whole time and never fired it.
Yeah,
38 years of having that gun, and he never used it.
Exactly.
I think it'd been funnier if he shot it when he threw him against the back wall.
Yeah, how have you never used that gun the entire time you've known Chewie? All right, Jay, you seem to be the only one who likes the Rathtar scene, so go ahead and defend it.
This is Han Solo at Han Solo-iest Han Solo-iest. Like, this is Han Solo.
Say that again 5 times fast.
This is Han Solo being Han Solo-e at his Han Solo-iest. This is Han Solo being Han Solo-e at Han Solo-iest. No, it really is, though. Look, he's borrowed money from Conja Club. He's borrowed money from the Guavian Death Gang, and what's he doing? He's literally trying to play them against each other, buying time for them to release those. This is Han Solo doing exactly what Han Solo does.
You think Han knew that Rey was going to release them, though? Seriously?
Yeah, actually, I did.
I don't think he did.
He's a resistance general. Of course he did. Of course he did.
All right.
Why else would you mention the fact that he was transporting Rathtars? Like, that would be a throwaway line if they didn't do jack shit with it.
No,
But
I'm saying Han,
like,
the character. You really think Han knew
yes,
that?
but that's what I'm saying though. Like, once that came up, it stopped being a throwaway line. It's, I'm transporting these incredibly deadly creatures. Oh, Conja Club, have I ever fucking lied to you? Yes. Guavian Death Gang, have I ever lied to you? What's the second time? Twice. What's the second time? It's Han Solo doing Han Solo. It's Han Solo talking to, in the special editions, it's Han Solo talking to Jabba the Hutt.
Talking his way out of it.
In Docking Bay 94. It's him sitting down talking
94.
to Greedo. It's him, it's Han Solo. It's Harrison Ford being the character that he was born to be. And we get that. Plus we get another thing that we've never gotten to see before. We've gotten this thing. No, I don't give a shit about that. The best part about the Wookiee bowcaster comes in like 40 fucking minutes. Let's be real here. Let's be real here. The coolest portion of that entire scene is the Rathtar on the fucking Millennium Falcon trying to eat that shit and them jumping to hyperspace through this creature. That's dope. That is a great vision.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Like, is it long? Yes, but is every scene in Star Wars just like a necessary scene? Not really.
No, what I love about this is that I love that the three people that love this movie are attacking a moment, and the one person who apparently doesn't like it is defending.
I know.
That's
irony.
That's why I'm letting this relish a little bit more, because we got Jay defending the movie while we're all bashing the movie. That's what I love about it.
For a very wrong reason, though. That's just it.
Well, I say it kind of like you said earlier. It's like it's not a bad sequence. It's a fine action monster sci-fi sequence in the movie. It's just
kind of unnecessary, though.
You're saying if there was a segment that you would take out of the movie, this would be the one.
Yeah.
That's it. It's what I'm not saying we hate the movie. I'm just saying if there was a sequence to take out of the film, this was the sequence to do it. That's it.
I skipped that scene on my rewatch.
Even then, Jay, even then, we're not even saying the point where Han's talking. Leave that in. We're not saying that part. We're saying the sequence after they get released, where Finn being grabbed and Rey having to save him.
Everything goes haywire.
That's the stuff we want out, not the whole Conja Club talk. That part,
because like you said, his interaction with them, that was Han Solo being Han Soloist, and I loved that interaction.
Right after that,
but like you said, maybe release them and tax them while you get away, like you said.
You want a portion of this movie where I would take something out?
Don't you dare say Mascanada.
No, I'm not going to say Mascanada, but it happened. It happens on that planet.
Oh, it does.
It's Rey in the forest.
It's what?
It's Rey in the forest.
The first part.
Yeah.
I can.
That's what I would take out. I would leave the Rathtar scene and kind of cut a majority of that right there, because that does absolutely.
You know the part
we get Rey Blaster face, like.
Which turned into a million memes.
That's the same face that chased Finn and made Finn run. It's the same.
Oh, that Blaster face.
It's like
wait, what?
Don't worry, I will find the picture and I'll put the picture up at this moment.
Put that meme up on the screen.
Yeah, it will definitely be up there.
It's a meme.
So they escaped. What is that ship that he was on? What was it?
It's like a cargo type ship.
It was a freighter.
Freighter. Sorry.
I was waiting for Jay to say
cargo freighter. Yeah.
Number and stuff like that. But yeah, we go to the planet. What planet is Mascanada on?
Takodana.
Is that actually legit?
Is that really it?
Battlefront 2 for the win, baby.
Okay, Brian.
Okay.
I just remember you don't like
Takodana.
It's like, all right.
I don't think we ever hear the name of it in the movie, but
we don't. But yes, we get introduced to Mascanada, played by
she's run this water hole for 1,000 years.
Yes.
She was played by, she's a mocap by her too. So.
I was about to, is she mocap by her also? Mm-hmm. Okay, so played and voiced by Lupita Nyong'o.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, first off, Maz kind of reminds me of my sister. So,
Oh gosh.
well, my sister, she's short,
Whoa.
kind of bossy, and that sequence where she
Her
walks.
eyes look like buttholes.
Wow.
Wow, Brian.
You're
You're
digging
the
your
one
own
that makes your
grave
sister
there,
look like
hosting
that.
the show.
You
You
Notice,
almost got
Sean.
him to throw his sister under the bus there, Brian.
Way to
Too
throw
far.
your family under a bus, man.
Too far. But no, the first thing she says when she sees Han is, "Where's my boyfriend?"
My boyfriend.
That's a
Han
total-
Solo.
That's a total line that my sister would say about somebody.
Hey,
Like,
Maz.
like a crush. Yes, where's my boyfriend? It's like, oh, I was like, that's totally a.
He's
something like-
repairing the Falcon.
and he's hurt. You should go tend to him. What would have been great is if I would have loved a scene with her and Chewie, and like Chewie be all like, her like trying to pet him. I would have loved that. I would have loved that moment. But I get it. Sometimes some things are too cutesy. But
Yeah.
and of course we get a nice moment when they land between Rey. Like honestly, the whole escape here and the moment they land, we get some nice like a father-daughter kind of relationship between Rey and Han.
Mhm.
Even to the point where you can see that Han is like, should I not? Like, maybe I need
Can
to
I
pull
trust
back
her?
a little bit. Yeah, kind of thing. Like, let's hire her. Kind of thing. We'll see what happens. But
Doesn't pay much.
yeah,
Chewie
I
likes it.
won't be nice to you.
Can't be that nice to you. It doesn't pay much.
And I love how a lot of people like to shit on Harrison, saying that he doesn't try anymore these days.
No, he was not phoning it in at all.
No,
in this
but I
movie. He
love
was
Han.
committed to this movie, dude.
Because he knew this is his last one, so go out like a champ.
He's committed.
Yeah,
Well, no, I think in recent years he has. I mean, not to the extent of like a Bruce Willis, but I think he has kind of
No,
phoned in some of his roles. But I think that in this one you saw that life back.
he
in
was
him, I
committed,
think.
man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the man broke a leg on the set, for Christ's sake.
A door collapsed on his leg.
because Chewie was not there to help him.
He wasn't there to turn the. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, he was fixing the Falcon.
Oh, that's true. Another part of it. Yeah.
and he was injured. But
Injured.
yeah. Meanwhile, while they're going to Maz Kanata, we get the first introduction to Snoke. Yes, Snoke is a very hot button issue for a lot of people.
Andy Serkis.
But for me, yes, Andy Serkis, to me, one of the most underrated actors today, deserves multiple Oscars, if not just one.
Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar, Smeagol, my favorite character pretty much of all time. I love Smeagol / Gollum. But we get to see Snoke, and we get to kind of see almost like the Kylo Hux are like sniveling brothers. Like each one's trying to get the upper hand for father's love, aka Snoke. And we see that kind of like with Tarkin and Vader, we never on screen do we ever see them at odds. It's a respect thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tarkin is technically in charge. Vader will follow suit, but never are they like ever at odds. Where if this one's talking to the other one's just like, fucking hate you, kind of look at each other. But we get the whole thing with Snoke. Like I said, your father is back, which is we get the reveal that Kylo is Ben Solo, which at the time was like what kind of thing. Yeah, we get the drop of that. We also earlier we skipped over it, but we get the first breakdown scene, I guess we'd call it, of Kylo when he finds out that they didn't get the droid.
His tantrum.
His tantrum.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets the tantrum.
And the other stormtroopers just turn around. Whoa.
And well, that comes later, but his first one's like, "What girl?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and then he just destroys the whole control.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that people shit on it. Hey, it's better than killing fucking people like Darth did. At least
It's better than choking out your other officers.
Yeah, at least he's keeping the employment rate steady.
Well, and it's the character. Again, I have no problem with it because that's who his character is.
And that panel.
He's
can be
this guy with
rebuilt in,
anger
like, 2
issues,
days.
and he takes him out.
He's effectively. I mean, he's not a teenager. He's clearly like around the same age as Rey, so he's in his
Yeah, he's
20s.
23.
He's a fanboy. He literally is a fucking fanboy. He's a fanboy of Darth Vader. He wants to be like Darth. And he doesn't, because he's so conflicted between the light and the dark, he doesn't know how to control. Yes.
Nice reference, Brian. I love it.
He doesn't know how to control his emotions,
So many
so he
posts
lashes
tonight.
out like a teenager would. And I'm not one that hates that movie. I honestly think that his second freak out is fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, Stormtroopers turn around. You're like, yep, we can't be here right now. We gotta leave.
Other way. But yeah. So, Brian, what were your thoughts on the introduction to Snoke? I guess also Kylo at that sense, because we kind of skipped over Kylo's breakdown tantrums. What were your thoughts on that?
Snoke's introduction, I think, is one of those moments that just felt like such a familiar beat from the previous movies. Because the way the hologram is, it's exactly the same way that when Darth Vader went to see the Emperor's hologram or whatever. And so that was one of those moments like, okay, here's the next step along the way. Again, didn't take me out of the movie, but it's something that you acknowledge. Go, okay, they're doing this scene now. What I did like is that, again, you've already kind of covered it, is kind of the different relationship that Hux has with Ren. I think the two of them and the way that they don't get along, there isn't that respect between them. I thought there was a different relationship, and that's how they brought something new to this aspect of that. They're basically in competition for Daddy's love, and that, or at least in competition for who's really in charge around there.
Yeah.
So that whole segment, and again, I've already covered, but when he has the tantrum in that, I had no problem with it, just because that's who this character is. This isn't Darth Vader. He's not going to be, very stoic. He's going to be like, fuck this shit, He's just that's who he is. So I had no problem with that.
Another Darth Vader. Yeah, we're getting a knockoff Darth sense, but we don't want a carbon copy Darth Vader.
No, the Ben Solo reveal did not come as a shock to me. I mean, you kind of saw it. I mean, that was basically is confirmation. So yes, you're like, oh, that's cool, but you kind of saw it coming. It just kind of at least hinted at it as a possibility that that's where this was going. So it didn't like shock me, but it was still a cool moment to have that confirmed.
Okay.
Hologram technology has gotten so much better in the last 40 years. Like, so much better. Because it was in A New Hope. I don't know if you guys, we've all recently rewatched it at least. No, not even the Leia, the added version of the Emperor's face in the hologram, looking like Zordon and shit. Yeah. It was literally just his face. It was like, here's my face, I'm a very evil guy. And now you have this almost hard light projection of Snoke sitting on this giant chair, and I thought that was really cool. Did I think that Snoke would be important? Not really. Like, even at this point in time, I'm like, okay, cool. He's the big bad. You've got Kylo Ren right here, who has kind of been the big bad up until this point. So either Snoke's gonna be the big bad and Kylo's gonna die in the next movie, or the next movie and a half, or this dude's getting taken completely out of the picture and it will be a completely unnecessary character. Oh, and look what happens.
Yeah.
Completely unnecessary character. No, I like the fact that, like, when we are on Takodana and the introduction to Snoke, really cool. But Brian's right. It is one of those things that mirrors kind of episode 4. But he's not wrong. It didn't. None of the issues that I have with this movie really kind of took me out of the movie. It's just most people are like, oh well, kinda, and then just like breeze past it, instead of just acknowledging the fact that this is where it came from and being like, okay, so it's it's not this original masterpiece. Granted, we were talking earlier, it is cyclical in nature. Even George Lucas said it. The shit, rhymes and it rises and whatnot. But yeah, no, I didn't hate this scene. It's just, one of those things where you're like, huh, it's very New Hope-y.
Ryan?
Yeah, the scene to Snoke. I mean, Andy Serkis is a fantastic actor. Whatever he does, whatever project he works on, whether he's acting or not, like, he just goes full bore. Whatever, if he's doing voiceover or mocap or not. I thought Snoke's introduction was cool. Him being revealed as Ben Solo, like, I know a lot of people were speculating that going into this movie, and I didn't want to buy into that. I just wanted to watch the movie for the movie and just let it play out on its own. When that reveal first time I saw it in the theater, I was like, Oh, this okay. So there are more connections here to the original characters than I originally thought that I was gonna see in this movie. That's fine. If he wasn't connected to any of the characters and he was a completely original, like no connection to the what is it, the Solos, the Sky Warriors, whatever, I would have been even more fine with that. But the fact that he is Ben Solo, I'm fine with it. It works for the storyline they're trying to put to move forward with. It's cool. Um, yeah, his temper tantrums. I wish I had a lightsaber and I could just go to a panel that doesn't need to be repaired from some shop or some store that any regard, and I can just, especially with final exams coming up, you know how that feels, college kids. It's nasty. So, but no, his tantrums were good. Snoke is good, and Andy Serkis is Andy Serkis. Who am I going to say no to him being in any movie? No,
No.
he could be in whatever he wants and be the man because he is. So. Yeah, good stuff. Not my favorite scene in the movie, but it works for what it's trying to build on with the story.
And to continue on with you, Ryan, what were your thoughts of Maz Kanata?
Oh, and Lupita Nyong'o is, I mean, she's already been places. She's won awards. She's going to win even more going forward in her career because she's one of the I believe it's one of the younger members of the cast, respectively. So yeah, Maz Kanata, cool stuff. Her goggles were goofy and funny, but it's fine. It works. And then a scene that comes a little bit later on with her character referring to a certain object that's in a certain box.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I can mention that. All right.
Yeah,
It's awesome. It's great. I mean, her saying, "I may not be no Jedi, but the Force, it moves through every living thing. Feel it. It will guide you." Like it's just, oh, those feels, man. And some of that score playing out throughout that scene, and Rey's like, "I don't want to touch that thing ever again." And then she has her Force vision. It's like, what is this? Where is this going? I want to know more. Feed me more. It's great, and the score is so well woven into the movie in certain scenes, Maz Kanata included. It's great. I love it, especially when she finds a lightsaber and tries to pass it on to Rey. Rey doesn't want it. She gives it to somebody else, gives it to Finn. It's great cinema. It's different. It's fresh. Yes, there are a few familiar beats here and there, but it feels just so refreshing, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Maz says, I really like she touches the lightsaber. She has a Force vision. She's on a Star Destroyer. She sees, Obi-Wan. She hears Obi-Wan. She hears Yoda. She sees Luke put the hand on R2. She sees the Knights of Ren. And then she sees some of its past, some of its future. She sees Kylo Ren round that tree with his lightsaber, which is going to happen here in the next fucking 45 minutes of the movie. So there's that. Plus, this is another big gripe that I have about, episode 8, where everybody's like, oh, we're going to find out who she is. Dude, Maz may not be like a Jedi, as she says.
Mm-hmm.
But at the exact same point in time, look at it, bro. She's even like, the people that you're waiting for on Jakku, they're never coming back.
And you know this.
Deep
down, you know this. Your future is this way, not that way.
Move forward. It's not kill the past. It's not forget the past. Let go of the past. Kill it if you have to. But I mean, that is no longer a diverging path for you. You can't do that anymore. You're a part of this bigger story. You have to move forward, Rey. These are your first steps. Like, this is the shit that I look for in a Star Wars movie. I don't need a movie to replay the same thing over and over and over again. This is the shit that's interesting to me about the world of Star Wars, because it's not something that we've seen before. It's almost reminiscent of like the conversation that old Ben and Luke have in his hut in Tatooine, but it's not, your father was killed by a young Jedi named Darth Vader. It's cool. We don't know who you are. You have some affinity to the Force. You touched this lightsaber, which fell off of Cloud City, and nobody had seen for fucking 35 years. And
we're never going to get that answer to how she got it.
It doesn't matter.
Well, no, she says that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
The original opening scene of this movie was going to be that thing floating through space.
Like, we're never going to find out.
No, it was. They talked about that.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
We get a whole bunch of shit that's really cool in her castle, and then
the Force vision is so good.
The Force vision is great. The fact that they actually like clipped Alec Guinness saying the word afraid to get his Ray was actually really cool to me, because it comes from, it comes from fucking episode 4 when he said, I'm not afraid. Don't be afraid. And that's where they get the little clip of him saying Ray. They clipped it and they elongated it, and that's where they got the Ray from.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. So like the technical work on this movie is fantastic. It's just, like I said, it's top 5 for me. And we talked about that, and we can I know Brian really hasn't said anything about it, but we're about to get to like the big thing about this movie.
That you have a problem with, you mean?
No, it's not necessarily that I have
We say you think a big thing. I'm like, what do you mean by big?
No.
What is the big thing? What is the nuke, if you will?
Hold on. Since Jay set it up, let's let Brian say his thing, and then we'll
never mind. Let's go to the MacGuffin for his thoughts. Brian, what are your thoughts on this matter?
On Takadana? What are we talking about?
Matt's Kadana.
The whole scene. Man.
I love Maz's character. Like you said, it was kind of that first thing she says, "Where's my boyfriend?" And I love that scene. It's just kind of it's like a Stella Getty and Golden Girls kind of thing going on there. And
that Hans like talks her up like she's scary. And this little
Don't
thing.
stare at her.
Yeah.
What? Any of
and
it.
she runs this place where obviously she doesn't take any shit in her joints.
She's 3 feet nothing.
And yet she kind of knows everything that's going on, which that's kind of how these bars work. They kind of they overhear everything, they know everything's going on. But then she also shows her wisdom, like when Ray has this vision, which I thought was a cool tease, because it was more atmospheric than anything else. It wasn't really telling you anything. It's kind of random flashbacks and random visions, and some things would turn out to be important in the future. But at the time we watched this, we're like, we don't know what any of that just meant, But then, like you said, Maz sits down with her, and she has this whole conversation with her saying, it called to you, so you are somebody, even if you think you're nobody.
Also, fantastic scene done by Daisy Ridley too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just that in that scene as well. I mean, wow.
Never
Star Wars characters can cry and show emotion and not be wooden with their dialogue.
No.
I killed them.
You're breaking my heart.
Brian, don't get me started on that line, bro. That's one of the worst lines in any movie.
The acting is coarse. It's rough. It's everywhere.
I also love the point when Finn starts talking shit and she starts climbing on the table. He's like, "What's she doing?"
I don't know, but it ain't good.
Not good.
It's not good, man. You're in trouble. Let me take a closer look at you.
Yeah.
What is in your soul?
That's one character that I wish we had gotten more of.
She's like saying song, man. She's like, "What is in your soul is mine. I can see it."
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, another reference.
But that's the only comments on that segment.
Oh, real quick, I almost forgot to mention this. In that scene where they first walk in and you see all these creatures laughing and stuff, that laughing sequence was done by the same person who was the voice of Salacious Crumb, Mark Dodson.
Really?
Same guy did the alien creatures like laughing and galloping around the cantina. I thought that was good stuff. I know it's a small little quick thing. Like if you don't listen to it, you will miss it. But Mark Dodson, I met him at a convention. He's fantastic at Salacious Crumb. Whatever kind of voiceovers he puts into these movies or TV series, Mark Dodson is cool, man. He does a really good job. And Salacious Crumb, I mean, my gosh, he was so good in that.
That scene, music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Blech, I can't talk. Hamilton himself. Cool. Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, like when their creatures are laughing, that's Mark Dodson doing that. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's really cool that he did that. He was able to come back and do all that work. One thing I also like, because this happens in between the whole Matt scene. Sure. I love the scene with Kylo talking to the Vader mask. Oh yeah. I can feel the light. I can feel it creeping in. I need you to show me the darkness. Exactly, because once again, it shows that Kylo, it's like just the mention of his father makes him want to go.
Well, I love the inversion, because in so many movies, you have a character who's being tempted by the dark side. Yeah. And this is somebody who's dark being tempted towards the light side and seeing that as a bad thing. And I like that.
And he's looking at the Vader mask.
It's
from Return of the
Hamlet.
Jedi.
Yeah, like
Hamlet with a skull.
2 years.
I won't let you down, even though you went back to the light too. So he killed the Emperor.
Well, I think he saw that as Vader's weakness. He's like, you were so close to being cool, and then you went and ruined it. I'm gonna finish what you started.
Yes. No, that's in the trailer too.
No, and he says it in the movie too. But I'll finish
Yeah,
what
both.
started.
Yeah.
But I liked that once again it showed that Kylo could be saved, but like Brian said, we're so used to seeing good people don't fall to the dark side, don't turn to it. Where he's going, I am dark. I feel the light creeping in. I don't want to go to the light side. Help me not become this good guy. Like that was a nice twist of things. I liked how they went about that. And then of course then we go to the battle where Kylo and the group show up. Like I said, love this whole sequence. We do get angry Rey shooting, at people. We get Finn with a lightsaber, which for someone who's never had a lightsaber before, he's not bad. He's not great.
He's probably been trained in different kinds of combat. That's how I figure it out.
And fun fact, the 200 to 300 people in our theater lost it when that lightsaber ignited for the first time in 32 years.
Same here.
They lost it. They
Same here.
lost it. They were like, the lightsaber's back. Finn's going to be a Jedi at some or whatever. We were
that's one thing I have an issue with, though, is that they clearly tried to teach you, like, oh, Finn's going to be this new Jedi. He's got this lightsaber. And later on in the movie, they do it again. But I think everyone in the world knew, was like, no, it's going to be Rey. We all know that he's not the one.
I was leaning towards Finn in the beginning.
Sensitive. I'm like, no, he's not. He's just a guy. He's
other people can pick up a lightsaber. Han Solo was the first person, actually until now, he'd be the only non-Jedi to use a lightsaber, and that was on the Tauntaun.
Yeah,
right. But Finn handled himself pretty well in this sequence, though.
But yeah, because I write that off to, like, he's probably been trained in different kinds of combat, whether it's regular swords or whatever. But that's like, I mean, it's still cool. That's another one of those things. It's like I did not buy that he was going to be a Jedi. It didn't fool me, but it was still a cool moment for him to light the lightsaber and start battling. And the whole thing, and the one he battled against, that soldier's like, traitor. That was cool.
I was about to get to that. The awesome, just traitor.
Throws his shield, throws his gun, pulls out the big one.
Like, yeah.
Oh, crap.
Oh my god.
We're gonna have a fight on our hands.
Especially since Finn has this lightsaber, but he's not, doesn't have the force to block blasters. So this guy could go traitor, bang, dead.
but no, this is the first time you really go, oh shit, this stormtrooper's gonna fuck Finn up.
He's the gladiator of this one. He's like,
and then his demise when again you get that crossbow thing, it just sends him flying.
Like, this is the first moment where you look at a stormtrooper as something other than just a generic stormtrooper. You're like, oh damn, this guy, and he's like just blocking the lightsaber fight. I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna get like Finn's gonna get effed up, and then of course Han. I like this thing.
Can I try that? Let's blow all these guys away.
He was like, you could have asked me that like a million times over the last few years, but here,
last 3 movies.
Have it. Have fun with it. But yeah, we and I know Jay's gonna want to talk about it, but so we'll wait for Jay to come back on that because that's the big thing. That or the Hitler speech by Hux. So that also happens during this, where Hux is just screaming. Basically doing a Hitler speech, and
where's his microphone during this?
Nothing. Apparently, they can all hear him.
They can all hear him. Microphone.
No, he didn't have anything on his lapel, Brian.
They have hidden microphones. Come on, you ever seen a show where somebody has a hidden microphone?
Although he's doing this big speech, and
we're gonna destroy all these planets.
You're expecting them to go, yeah, and it's just.
I want to see the guys in the back going.
What did he say? I couldn't hear him from the back row. We're in row 385.
They're playing.
They can have. Hey, they're wearing. At least the ones wearing helmets. They can be transmitted in there. We don't know.
You know what? That's a fair. All right, Brian. I'll give you that. That's a fair.
Get this reference. The ones in the back going. Blessed are the cheesemakers. What?
No,
He likes things that are red. It's gonna blow big.
No, I mean, there was a part of me that thought Finn could have been the Jedi in this movie, but I mean, I figured it was going to be Rey because she had the Force vision. It's like, well, clearly she's going to be the new. And that's fine. That's great. But if you have 2 Jedis, hey, 2 is always better than 1. Yeah. But in this case, I understood why they went with Rey more so rather than Finn, and I get it. Because Finn, let's be honest, I mean, Finn has his part to play in this new trilogy. We get that.
Yeah, and then of course, because of the speech, we get to see what Starkiller Base can do. It takes out like 4 planets?
5 planets, actually. It was 5 planets specifically. I was like, hey, you thought the Death Star could take out 1? Forget that.
Okay, here's one tidbit, or not tidbit. Here's one thing that I have an issue with.
Sure.
How are at least Hux anyway? Because all the other stormtroopers, do they turn? But they got helmets on. How is Hux not blind? Just watching that thing
Oh,
shoot.
because that's a good point. Why don't they give that guy a pair of shades?
It's the sun, and he's just looking at it, so like, nah, dude, your retinas are gone.
Do they have shades in the Empire? I don't think, or First Order in this case. I don't think they
Well,
do.
they just wear helmets, but
Well, yeah, but counting the non-stormtrooper officers.
yeah,
but,
I've never. Well, no, I swear to
That's a
God,
good
if I
question.
thought they were shades, they would probably.
If they wore shades, do you think they'd be Ray-Bans?
Yeah, it's just from Star Trek.
Well, not every star is necessarily like our sun.
Well,
Different spectrums of light and such.
technically,
Yeah,
Brian,
come on,
technically.
you see how bright that thing was when it shot
Dude, that
out.
thing was super bright. Rewatching that on my TV, I'm like, that thing is bright, man. Where's a pair of shades when you need them for those guys?
And it blew out like the trees all around it, like
I
almost
saw.
like a
Yep,
blue.
I remember that.
Like, I'm sorry, Hux, you're blind.
You be blind, man.
But yeah, we get to see it destroy the ships. And then
Planets are destroyed.
like we're in the middle of the fight, and then the awesome, once again, more beautiful dogfighting work.
Yes.
Poe Dameron run where he's like taking out like 6 of them. Like just
And he
going
takes out
through,
stormtroopers on the
takes out
ground.
the stormtroopers on the ground, and then
Yeah,
Finn
that was
goes,
great.
that's one hell of a pilot, not
Mhm.
knowing that it's Poe, which makes it that much more. And that's the part I didn't like. If he knew it was Poe, then great. He didn't know it was Poe, so it's just a weird line to throw out there like that.
Yeah, but the blast
again-
shooting the stormtroopers was great because we
It
never,
was.
I don't think we've ever really seen that in a Star Wars film. And also, I like the mix of what JJ was doing with both practical and special effects in a lot of his
Yeah,
shots.
because I mean, he literally was just going off on everybody. Like you're just watching this one ship, one.
Mhm.
Like I mean, because like even in I don't think we've ever seen that really in any of the Star Wars movies. Like I mean, we just in all the other Star Wars films, we just see like just a straight up just dogfighting going around. We don't see one ship legitimately just going out there and dominating. We don't see that. So like in this one with Finn, well, not Finn, with Poe, I mean he's going out there and he's just like a one-man army. You know, he figured out just 6 of them, just boom, 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 boom. Oh wait, you need help on the ground? Boom, 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 boom.
He's got mad skills.
And this is again where I liked what J.J. Abrams did in this movie is that these fighters are not only made for out in space dogfights, but just within the planet's atmosphere, not just in the air, but also I mean that first shot of them coming on skimming the water, the way that their jets were, that was just awesome.
That was great.
Even when the TIE fighter showed up at like what was it, sundown? And you have, like, the Top Gun shot.
That was like an Apocalypse Now kind of.
Yeah,
I could Top Gun kind of thing where you have the TIE fighters in the sun.
But yeah, this I thought it looked beautiful. Actually, that shot just came up right now. I'm watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful
Brian
visual.
doing more homework. Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful visual for that whole thing. And of course, the one time I think we've ever seen Rey legitimately scared is when she sees Kylo the first time, because in the vision she sees
Comes
Kylo.
out of the trees, yeah.
And that's like the only time where we actually seen her just like look defeated, backing away, blindly shooting, like not able to hit anything really. I mean, he deflects a couple, but yeah, I mean, then he freezes her. You know, he kind of is like, oh, she's seen the map. Screw BB-8, and then he takes her away. But what I loved about that whole moment, which once again adds to the fuel of the acting and the way the story is when Finn sees her being carried and he's running across that battlefield. Like all he sees is Rey being taken, and he's screaming her name the entire time as he's running through, ignoring everything else around him, trying to get to Rey. I loved that moment because it showed how much Rey meant to Finn at that moment. Jay, I'm assuming we're at the part you want to talk about since you're back now.
It actually happens right before this, but yeah, it's the.
We talked about the Hux speech. We're in the middle of the whole big battle. What was the big thing you wanted to talk about?
Oh, the new Death Star.
Starkiller Base. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Death Star. Fucking what?
3.0,
4.0, 3.0. Who's counting?
It's 3.
3.0. This is where like my big issue comes from in this entire movie. You know, this is my go-to point of people being like, oh, this is, you know, I love this movie. This is such a great movie for Star Wars. You're literally stealing the biggest plot point from the first movie.
How's it
And
any
then-
different from Jedi though?
What are you talking about?
Jedi's got a Death Star too.
People do that as Jedi to Star Wars too, but the thing is, I disagreed with Jay only not in that it's a complete knockoff, because this is the most blatant of the copied this from the first movie, absolutely. But everyone I've talked to acknowledges, yeah, this is just another Death Star. But
They
again,
even do it in the movie.
right? But he calls that.
It's just bigger.
So I mean, I don't think that people like fillet this movie and ignore these things. I think everyone I've talked to has always been like, well, yeah, that's definitely, they're just doing Death Star over again, even if they love the movie, which I do.
Itself points it out that it's just bigger. We'll just blow it up. There's got to be a way in, right? They always have a way.
There's always a way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There's always a way to blow it up.
and I mean, even to that point, I mean, if we think about just war in general, they like to repeat themselves. If obviously this was a big machine, it would have worked if it hadn't got destroyed. Let's rebuild that. That worked. It still got blown up. Let's do, what can we do better about it? They like to repeat themselves. I wouldn't be
I
shocked
hate looking at.
in terms of real life war in general.
Well, no, I hate looking at things from with a scientific eye. And you know, this is a fantasy movie. You know, it's a science fiction fantasy movie.
I think I know where he's going with this. Okay.
Where am I going?
If they're sucking the power out of that sun, that planet's toast.
That's what I'm saying.
Not only are you going to freeze to death, but you're going to have no gravity. You're going to spin off into the galaxy somewhere.
Like, you're literally siphoning the plasma. You're siphoning what makes a star, which is just nuclear fission, down through a planet's atmosphere, and then shooting it out into space, bro.
Well, not only the planet surviving and absorbing this energy, but then the fact that you're taking the energy away from the sun, so you no longer have the sun.
I will agree with you on this too. So they shoot these 5 planets, and then the base is at a whole nother system. So do they set? It's just they shoot enough power that it reaches that system, or can they move this planet? Because like, how is it reaching this other system where the base is? What's nowhere near there? You know, I think
they just are able to target it from there. I don't think they move
like a hyperspace light gun or something like that. I think that's how they initially describe it. So maybe the gun can shoot through hyperspace or some shit like that.
So,
what?
You go back and you look at other media. They had a ship that could harness the power of a sun and then destroy a planet. But it was a ship. Small. Teeny, tiny, small. They took that idea and then said, what was really cool about the first Star Wars movie?
That was
big ass moon that was no moon. You know what would be better? Because bigger is better.
It's a planet.
It's a planet now. Really?
Also, the structure of the planet probably wouldn't work because it's in the core. That planet probably still wouldn't really be functioning properly anyway.
A, that planet is shit. And B, these guys built a fucking planet-sized Death Star and they still haven't beat the rebellion. You guys are definitely dumb as hell.
What? No, we're agreeing. We are.
No.
Oh.
I'm literally like, if I was Supreme Leader Snoke and I heard this plan, I would force choke the shit out of everybody. Like, no, we're gonna bring in an entirely new crew. You say some dumb shit to me like that again, the first thing you get is a force slap. I'll smack the shit out you with the force. Second thing, fuck it. You choke.
Keep that force 10 pan strong, right?
Fucking
A. But okay, so was that your big thing? Was that?
There's that, and you know, we've had this whole talk, you know, throughout this entire movie, we've had this entire talk about how Poe Dameron is the best fighter pilot and I don't know, I'm going back a little bit, but Poe Dameron is the best fighter pilot in the galaxy. In the span of 30 seconds, he blows up 10 TIE fighters and multiple different fucking stormtroopers. Great continuity, actually.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about when you popped back in, was how awesome that scene was. But then also, once we get done with the fighting, we finally get to see Princess Leia. We hear her music.
Carrie Fisher.
Yes, we hear her music. We see her come out. She sees Han. They get that lock, and then of course, fucking the goldenrod douchebag C-3PO. He's got to fucking come in and cock block the situation. Oh, you might not revenge from me because I've got a red arm. Get the fuck out of the way, 3PO. No one wants to talk to you. God damn it. But we get the we get the Leia Han moment. I basically just put their names.
I get it, Lon.
Yeah, I put their names together. But yeah, we get their moment, and then we get all the way to their base. But also, we get the first time seeing Kylo without his mask, and we get to see Adam Driver finally, and we get the first interaction not the first interaction because they talked on the planet, but we get their first test of force strength against each other as Kylo tries to get in her head, and then she gets right back at him and basically calls him out on his bullshit. You're scared that you're never going to be Darth Vader, which
It's not the first time that happens.
What are you talking about?
The first time that happens is on Takodana, when they're in the forest. Right before he puts her to sleep, he's trying to extract the.
I'm talking about she counters back at him.
Okay. I was like, the first time he tries to pull the information from her is on Takodana, and she makes that face.
No, when he's on Takodana, he realizes that she's seen the map. And he's like, okay.
I know, and he's literally got his hand up to her face trying to extract the data from her, and then they're like resistance fighters, sir, and then then he sleeps her.
Yeah,
which I thought was dope as shit too, because that's something you've never seen in a Star Wars movie. But God forbid we don't fucking, we have an issue with Star Wars, force powers that have never been seen in the next movie. But cool, fucking the bad guy can do it.
There's at least like a handful of new force things we learned in this movie that we didn't have in any of the other films. But yes, I agree. Then they flip out about anything that happens in Last Jedi. But yeah, we have a nice back and forth between him and Kylo and Rey. Then of course we get the coming back together of Poe and BB-8, which was awesome. When BB-8 literally almost takes Finn's legs out to get back to Poe, beautiful. And then of course we get Finn and Poe, buddy. Like I said, I get that. That's where Brian's probably going, I don't buy this, because they're just like, buddy. Like, dude, you guys spent like maybe 15 minutes together.
Life or death situation. I get it. It forms a bond.
Which
bros for life.
And then, of course, the situation that we had already talked about. They're talking about Starkiller Base, and Han's just like, it's just bigger. Let's just go find a way to blow it up. Okay, guys, break. It's like they had to have a whole big meeting about that. So it's like, guys, why don't we just do it like we did last time? Okay, go do it, kind of thing. I kind of jumped like 15 minutes of dialogue there. Ryan, thoughts on any of that?
No, you're good, man. No, it's to see Rey kind of let the Force guide her, and kind of call Kylo Ren out on his BS, as it were. That's cool stuff. And then Leia coming back, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. We will always miss you. That was good stuff. But then when they get into the base, and we see the new base, we see the X-Wings and the pilots, and their suits have been somewhat, not a lot, but somewhat updated here and there with the color scheme just a little bit. But to see some familiar faces from other projects that J.J. Abrams has worked with these actors on, like one of the forget the person's name, but the one dude who's
Greg Grunberg.
Talking about Greg's one of them, but the other dude, something Kim or something, I forget his name.
Oh, the guy from Lost.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that the Lost alum.
Ken Leon.
Him, and thank you.
Yes.
Him, and then you got Billy Lord, who's Carrie Fisher's daughter. I didn't know too much about her at that time, but to see Greg Grunberg in there was nice. Met him at convention. He's fantastic. Signed a picture for me from Snapbox. Awesome stuff. Got your Funko Pop too, Greg.
Heroes.
Good. I know, right? Go Greg Grunberg. No, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. It's good to see some familiar elements, but also introduce some new characters, even though they're playing some of the same roles, like a rebel pilot, rebel officer, whatever. But it, works for what it is.
And we also at that time too, we also get the last conversation between Leia and Han.
Yeah. Yep.
Bring our son home.
Yeah. That'll get now that you know like what happens later in the movie, and then what happens to Carrie Fisher after that. It gets you in the feels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's literally in the theaters. Sorry, no, just literally in the theaters when she said bring her son home, I was like, he's dead. He is 100% dead.
Yeah, he's Kylo Ren. He's not Ben Solo.
I was in denial. I went into it like, oh, fuck, Han's gonna die in this movie, isn't he?
Oh no, Han, I was like, Han's dead right there. I started bracing myself in the fucking theater. I was like, I leaned over to my grandma and was like, they're gonna kill Han Solo.
He was like,
she's like, no, they're not. It's Han Solo.
Well, that's another one of those things that I mean, maybe for people that were followed along the whole saga more, you knew Han Solo was dying. I mean, Harrison Ford's made no secret that he wanted Han to die after the first movie, after the second movie, after the third movie, and he wanted to be done. And he agreed to come back to this, and he had such a featured role in this one. You kind of felt like, okay, he agreed, I'll come back and do this one, but you got to take me out. I'm not doing any more after this. And so you kind of saw it was coming. And then when we get to that scene, there's that scene where he shows up, and you're like, oh, this is it. He's gonna die.
Yeah, we didn't want it to happen, but we knew it was coming.
Right. But as far as the whole rest of these scenes, this segment is just kind of putting the pieces on the board, getting ready for the final.
Star Wars. Let's now speed up and let's get all this extra stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
So let's do what we did in episode 4.
Yeah.
Let's have kind of a slow start, kind of a not so action packed, but not as slow middle. Cool. Here's the Death Star. We got to go fast now.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. And then we also get the James Bond cameo.
Yes, Daniel Craig, the uncredited cameo.
007 as a stormtrooper. Never thought we would see it.
Who's not clever because he got mind tricked by a rookie Force person.
That is true. You remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open. And I will drop my weapon.
Yes. And then, of course, what we mentioned earlier, Kylo spazzing out, and the troopers are like, yeah, no.
I will tighten those restraints, scavenger scum. How did he even know she was a scav? Or wait, he must have been in the cell when Kylo was interrogating her the first time. Never mind.
Regardless of if that's the point or not, the fact is that, like, I love the fact that it didn't work the first time she tried it. It's not.
She wasn't calm. She was all shaky.
Yeah, she tried it like 3 times.
Yeah. But, this is another issue that, everybody has with her. Oh, she's a Mary Sue. She's overpowered.
I hate that argument. I hate that argument.
It's fucking ridiculous. But, it goes to show, like, she tries it 3 times and then, like, takes a deep breath in, takes a deep breath out, and continues to try it. Perseverance, bro.
Yeah. She finally calmed herself down, and it worked.
And she let the Force guide her, like Maz Kanata said.
Brian?
Oh, I basically echo what you guys said. I have no problem. I mean, there's the whole Mary Sue thing. I think is dumb. Are there parts of this movie where it's a little bit stretched to believe, like we'll get into later with the lightsaber battle with Kylo? It's like he's been training his whole life and she hasn't.
We haven't.
There's a little bit of stretched in believability that she held her own there, but it's fine. But as far as this part, I thought she played it very well. Like you said, it doesn't just come naturally.
We'll get to
it doesn't just come naturally where she can use the Force. She, like it says, she has to find herself. She has to kind of guide her. Tries a couple times till it finally works.
And so then we get Han and Finn crashing onto Starkiller Base. Probably to me one of my favorite moments where he's like, "You're the janitor? Well, that's okay. We'll use the Force." That's sanitation.
That's the best line in the movie. That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, a lot of people were laughing during that scene in the theater. They love
that. And Chewie complaining that he's cold. Okay, that right there, that got me, bro. I was like,
that was another good zinger. That was a good one-liner.
So good.
There's some good ones in there.
Yeah, it's like I said, and then I love the shot where like the elevator doors open and the stormtrooper just get blown away by the crossbow
blaster. Yeah.
We get a
bowcaster. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, we get Finn and Phasma's moment. Just kind of meh. Let's skim over that. Drops her in the compactor, which if you're gonna do it, just show it.
I would have liked to have seen that, actually.
I would have liked to have seen him either just closing the compactor door with her in it.
Read a book.
We don't have time to read that book, man.
Get an Audible book.
We're too busy watching it, Jay.
I don't got time for audio. I don't
Use your imagination. Get it on Audible and fucking use your imagination.
I don't got time for Audible, man.
I'm sorry.
Jay is fucking reading.
I know who reads anymore. No,
I know, right?
We all do. I know, we all do. We all read in our own way.
Yeah, not novels or stuff.
Yeah, y'all read subtitles. It's the same thing.
You're like, Jay is so butthurt about novelizations.
Sorry.
Jeez.
You should be.
Didn't know that was a sore spot for Jay.
I know, seriously.
But yeah, so we have the attack on Starkiller Base. We have them all trying to attack the
oscillator.
Yeah. While they're sucking all the sun out of the sky, basically.
They're sucking all the suns out?
The solar
What's left of it anyway?
I was honestly watching Brian the whole time, waiting for him to say something. Then it came up from above with Jay.
I was holding back.
I got you, Brian. Don't worry about it.
Hashtag sucking the suns. There you
Ooh.
go.
Let's go ahead and watch it. I will literally Photoshop you on a Princess Leia bikini like I did Douglas Castle.
I'll still
TMI,
put mine on
man,
right now.
TMI. No.
Do
not do that.
I have it in the closet.
I will not be able to sleep tonight if you do that.
Right next to my female Chewbacca bikini.
Ugh, man. What was your next point?
Let's go ahead and get to the big point, which is the Han Solo death.
Really? Oh shit.
He dies in this movie? No.
Spoilers!
Yeah, sorry for the spoiler, Ryan. I
Massive
didn't know what you were coming into on this. But yeah, when they get on that walkway, and you're just like, shit, he's gonna fall.
Okay, who designs things for the Empire and the First Order? Build some goddamn railings. That's A. Okay.
He only gets railings for like the first tenth of that bridge.
Yeah, the first like 10 feet.
Yeah, there's a little bit of railing on there.
First 10 feet,
There's
yeah, but
only
I'll
like 1/10 of it.
Yeah. But that whole segment, I really liked how it was done because I think that Adam Driver really showed the struggle going on inside him.
Yeah.
Because he was feeling like, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I can do it. And we all knew it was coming.
Solo flipped the blade on the lightsaber, bro. That's why he says thank you and then he falls. Let's be real. Han wanted out. It was a bad marriage. He hated his son. He just wanted out.
I don't
not
believe that for
entertaining your
one
wild
second. I don't believe that for
I have
1
hot takes
second.
on Star Wars, but Jay's taking the cake on that.
Kylo turned that sucker on, man.
If you want to do conspiracy theories, let's just talk about the fact that, okay, his lightsaber goes through him, probably somewhere around the belly. It immediately cauterizes the wound because it's a laser sword, and he falls, and for all we know, he landed on something soft. Also, it could be alive for all we know.
Darth Maul.
You tell that to Qui-Gon Jinn.
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn could be alive somewhere.
Qui-Gon Jinn is definitely, they burnt that man's body, sir.
Exactly. What if he was still alive?
He wasn't alive. He was sleeping.
So actually, technically, Han is dead. That Starkiller Base blew up.
He's resting.
There's no way Han got out of there.
That is an ex-Jedi.
Man.
He's not dead. He's just pining for the fjords.
I just said that. That's an ex-Jedi.
Nice.
Like even if
That's
Han
my
survived,
third Monty Python reference tonight, just for you, Sean.
You didn't. Fuck you, Brian.
We could feel it in the scene, man. We could feel what was happening.
You can see it in the scene. You can literally, not even just on Kylo Ren's face, in the background, the entire fucking color palette of the entire room is changing. It's going from black to red.
The sun's going down.
The sun's going down.
Well, the lights turning, going down.
I know what you mean, sir.
Well,
I know.
You got Rey, Chewie, and Finn all watching as it's happening.
Both from Chewie and from Rey, that shriek when he kills him.
Oh, we lost our.
You just felt it when Chewie was like, ah!
I said no in the theater. Like I actually yelled no in the theater.
And he's just like, bam, bam, bam,
motherfucker.
Yeah,
locks him right away.
Yeah, and then Chewie just tries to kill him. I love that.
I also, let's be honest here. When Kylo or Ben drops his helmet, it stays completely still. That helmet would have bounced off that railing and he would have lost.
He's in the Force, bro.
It's a magnetic railing. We don't know.
Is it magnetic?
Drop that. I was like, that thing.
Well, that way, if somebody's walking in there and drop their keys, they want to lose them. So it's magnetic.
So the keys would just stay there then for them to pick them up. Okay, fine.
There's no
the keys to the TIE
There's
fighter.
no cars in this start
you
killer
know that
base
everything's
thingy.
probably pushed to start on 90%.
Nobody uses keys anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Adam Driver is not a man who should wear turtlenecks. I'm just saying.
he also
looks that bad,
he
huh?
also shouldn't be, shirtless either. So,
Bro, that
Yeah,
man gained 15 pounds of straight muscle and 15 inches of straight just girth, dog.
Did he now?
yeah, okay, we'll leave that for Last Jedi. But yeah,
And yet the biggest thing on his body was still his ears. Those ears.
Right?
Nonetheless,
Him and Baby New Year. Anyway.
You were saying, Sean?
nonetheless, it was a great death scene for Han.
Oh, yeah.
Solo. Very well acted by both Adam Driver, and Harrison Ford,
Very well
and
built
obviously Daisy Boyega and whoever is doing Chewbacca. I'm blanking on his name right now.
I think that's still Peter Mayhew. I think this was the last movie.
Was it Mayhew?
No, Mayhew did a lot of like the sitting around cockpit scenes, but anything walking around was Jonas.
Suotamo or Sutomo?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then even Leia, because as soon as Han dies, Leia.
She felt it.
Yeah, like that whole sequence. Just
how dare she? She wasn't trained in the Force.
No, Luke taught her a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two.
No, Brian, this was a big argument in the last thing. In the last show, with Douglas.
Which is why we're not going to repeat it. Moving on.
It was a big argument in the last episode.
That's fair. I get it.
But yeah, I love that like Chewie just goes into fuck it mode. He shoots Kylo and he's like, fucking detonators. I'm taking this whole motherfucker down. Like, you killed my boy. Burn.
We are glossing over the fact that Chewie hits him dead right in the fucking sweetmeats of his gut with a bowcaster, and we've seen that hit multiple people and blow them fucking 15, 20 feet back.
He also had distance though, but still, yeah. Kylo just drops to a knee. Like
he was like 40 feet away.
Kylo basically drops like he got punched in the stomach, and not that he just got shot with a bowcaster that takes people flying. But yes, so and then of course this leads to the snow in the forest. Which I know. How did Kylo beat them up there? Like they walked like right out the door. Kylo's all the way down there. Yeah, somehow he cuts them off.
That's a good point. Maybe he did a force jump.
He could have. But I also love like during this whole point he's hitting his wound.
Yep.
Trying to get like the anger to make him stronger in a sense, but it's also making him weaker. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, who was it? Was it Brian or Jay that had an issue with this sequence? I know it was Brian.
Well, I wouldn't even call it so much an issue with it. I just said that this is one aspect where I can see the argument to like, how does this girl hold her own against this guy who had been training as a Jedi and then had moved on later?
What about the Finn part first? Because Finn goes at him first.
Well, Finn was that was another one. Yeah, that was another one of those things that they clearly are trying to give you that false lead, like, oh look, Finn's got the lightsaber, he's going to face off against him. And he did for a couple minutes. And actually, Finn facing off successfully against him with lightsaber was again, you kind of like, really he can hold his own against him, but okay. But then the moment, and this is not one of those moments that you absolutely knew was coming. You knew that it was going to be Rey getting the lightsaber, but it was still just a fucking cool moment when you see that lightsaber go into her hand. She's like, let's go.
I love the part where Kylo uses the side. Part of the saber. Yeah, I love that. Even though Adam Driver doesn't do good enough at yelling traitor as a stormtrooper did, he don't quite have that same kind of with it.
It was still cool though.
Jay, what did you think of the Finn Rey or the Finn Kylo battle? As short as it was, but what do you think of that?
It makes perfect sense to me that he would be able to use something like a lightsaber. He's a stormtrooper. They don't just get trained in blasters. They get trained in hand-to-hand combat, and they get, granted, it's in. Okay, so you don't see it in the movies, but you do see it in accompanying media. You see it in Clone Wars, the TV show. They use shit like that. Plus, you get to see TK388 use the electro staff, the electro baton, the giant tonfa, which
I'm gonna never not do this every time he brings it up.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you get to see the fact that they're using, melee or martial weapons at this point. So, I mean, just the logical conclusion or jumping point would be cool. Most of them have some basic knowledge of how to use, any sort of weapon. A lightsaber is not special. The only reason a lightsaber is special is because we've built it up as a specialized weapon. It's literally just another sword. You know, it's a laser sword. So there's that. Plus, everybody's like, "Oh, how could an untrained stormtrooper hold his own?" 2 reasons. 1, he got shot in the fucking gut by Chewbacca. So he's already damaged right there, and he is pounding on his gut like he's fucking Matthew McConaughey in The Wolf of Wall Street. But at the exact the exact same point, so he's weakened there. Rey's been fighting shit on Jakku her entire life with the staff. You ask any martial artist that, okay, so it's a staff. That doesn't mean that you can't transfer the knowledge that you have using one over to another weapon when it's just a shorter version of that.
Yeah, it just means she doesn't have a follow through with the other half of the staff. That's all that means.
And I get that, but a majority of the time that she's even fucking with a lightsaber, she's on the defensive. It's not until she does what she did when she pulled the fucking Jedi mind trick off, she calms herself and lets the Force guide her, that she's even able to do anything really offense wise. And let's be real here. He was probably a teenager when Luke Skywalker picked him up. What training did Luke Skywalker get when it came to using a lightsaber?
None.
Jack shit. Which would probably mean that Luke Skywalker, not the greatest Jedi with a lightsaber on the face of the planet. Look at him the last time you really see him with a lightsaber. He's on the Death Star. Before that, he's on Jabba's barge, the katana, and he's fucking swinging away like it's a goddamn baseball bat, and he's Joaquin Phoenix. So personally, I can see how this fight wouldn't be as one-sided as everybody's trying to make it. I love both of these fights, though. Both of these fights are dope as shit. John Boyega fucking hitting the Jedi pose and igniting the lightsaber fucking blew up in the theater, dude. I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about right there.
I would also use it as a thing is like when Kylo was going against Finn, he was playing with his food.
Kind of, yeah.
Finn's no match for Kylo, and Kylo knows it. Kylo's just gonna be like, I'm just gonna tap you, and then when he finally had enough, he fucking took him out. Whereas with Rey, come on, if you go back and rewatch the actual fight, he's not really going for any death blows on her.
No, he's swinging around her.
He's just trying to contain her.
You need a teacher.
Because he's not supposed to kill her. He's supposed to bring her to Snoke. He's not going for any death blows. He's just trying to stop her.
Yeah.
So
that's why she's on the defensive for like 90% of the fight.
Yeah, that's another reason why she does so well. She's going for the death blow. He's just trying to contain her. And then eventually she uses the Force to basically to overpower him because he's playing defensive because he's not trying to kill her. And I think that also helps her out in that fight as well. Ryan, what are your thoughts on both fights?
Man, one of the things that makes me happy about going to the theater and having this be a communal experience, and I've said this before, when certain moments happen in this particular film, The Force Awakens, the theater lost their minds. Well, when Finn goes after Kylo Ren, that's good. Like they really enjoy that. But now, granted, some people were speculating going into this particular scene that, not a lot, but some people were speculating that Luke was the one who was going to get the saber. Luke was going to get it, and Luke was going to return. But I was like, I don't know about that because he's been randomly for 30 some odd years. How would he know how to, where Star Killer bait? Who knows? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I didn't buy into that. Lightsaber flies out of the snow, goes into her hand, and this isn't a bad thing. All the women really lost their minds in the theater, but even more so, all 350 people in the theater lost their ever-loving minds. It's like,
how big is your fucking theater, dude? 350 people?
Whatever. I'm making up numbers here. I can't count.
My movie theater in Omaha, the IMAX theater in Omaha, could sit 450 people.
Okay, well, the one I was in could sit like 250, 300. I can't remember exactly, but bear with me on this. So yeah,
no, I wasn't trying to detract from you. That literally just blew my mind. I was like, "Fuck!" I didn't know they made theaters that big.
Yeah, in Maryland, we know how to partay with a movie. Anyway, so in this scene, I was like, we were hitting the roof. We were like, this is what we want. A new character, has the Force powers. She's going somewhere. She has a bright future. We love this. Let's have our fight. And the fight was so good. And when it ended, we were like, no, we don't. I don't want this to end. I want to see more. I want to see more. But we understood why. The plan was falling apart. The bridges were, everything was splitting. There's no way they can continue this fight with the planet about to blow up. So I get that. But I just, this was probably my top two, if not like favorite overall scene in the movie is seeing the new Jedi versus the new Sith. And he's like, you need a teacher. I can tell you the ways of the Force. But then everything quiets down. You hear the score and she's got her eyes closed. You think she's about to, about to get injured, whatever. She feels it, uses her powers or Force powers, whatever, what have you, and does exceedingly well with it. Beautiful. Just beautiful. It's magnificent. It's a work of art. I love it. I got a print of it that someone put together of the battle on Starkiller Base. Love it to pieces. God bless this movie. Back to you at the desk.
And lightsabers look amazing in snow.
Yes, the effects in this movie were fantastic.
Lightsabers in like dark lighting look fucking fantastic.
They looked great in this scene.
I said about Attack of the Clones that Brian was like, "Ooh, wait, they did."
Attack of the Clones.
So cool, though. That looks so cool though.
But in here, it was like in the context of the fight, it worked. Whereas before, it was kind of like two people sitting working with flashlights, going, "Ooh."
It still looks fucking cool. I'm gonna.
Good, man.
But and then of course we get to see more cool Poe take out the Death Star. Like that one shot where it looks like he's doing the trench run, but he's got to like close his X-wing and like slide into the end, and then go in and shoot everything out. Just further shows how badass Poe is as a fighter or as a fighter pilot.
Right.
Like they just always make sure Poe gets the coolest shit. But yes, I also loved, and this further kind of shows how the First Order aren't as good as the Empire, because everyone's running around like little babies and everything's falling apart. They're all like, we're gonna die. The Empire didn't do that. Empire stayed their ground. Did they not? Am I wrong on that? When the Death Stars were going down, everyone pretty much stayed their posts.
The Death Star also, like,
wasn't
as big.
It was a quick blow up. It was a quick blow up. I get it, but like you're showing like generals and stuff like running around scared. Hux goes and runs to Snoke, and I also love how Snoke's like, go get Kylo. He's like, I don't want to go get him. Let him die, kind of thing. But yeah, it blows up, which typical blow up. Looks cool.
It happens in every movie.
Yeah, cool visual. This is my biggest issue with the film. Jay, I think I know where you're going with. This still pisses me off to no end. If they were ever going to do a special edition, they need to fix this fucking scene, because this is the one part where I
ever bring up special editions and fixing anything.
No, if there's ever anything that needs to be fixed, this is the scene that needs to be fucking fixed. They get back to base. Leia walks right by fucking Chewie. Does not acknowledge Chewie, and goes right to Rey, who she barely knows, to console her about Han. No, fuck that. She should be going to Chewie, who's known Han his whole life, and should be consoling Chewie, and Rey walk up. Not walk completely fucking by Chewie like he's nobody, and go to someone she doesn't even know to console Han being dead. That shit pissed me off to no end.
Maybe she knows Chewie's happy. He's like, well, life debt paid. I'm out.
Yeah, she's happy. He fucking screamed and shot at her son. But maybe that's why she's mad. He shot at Kylo. But
that makes her own problem with the movie.
What?
She's mad that he shot her son.
I don't think she gives a flying fuck. But it doesn't matter. It's just that part irks the fuck out of me. It's like, okay, we just lost one of our original. Yet you're gonna walk by his best friend to someone you have one scene.
His best friend, not her best friend.
Yeah, but come on. The first time Leia walks on screen, Chewie immediately goes and hugs her. Hey, you're telling me they're not gonna console each other when Han dies?
That's Peter Mayhew being a creep, dude.
Yeah, but Kevin just pointed out that it's not the first time Leia's been a bitch to Chewie. I mean, not giving him a medal at the ceremony. She's got something against him.
It's just that scene to me.
She's space racist.
She's specious.
She's a cat person. It's just that scene.
I get it.
she's
Well,
like,
I
she
get it,
loves
and
kids
even
to the
like
point
J.J.
where-
Abrams even said, yeah, that was a mistake. But so you just gotta accept it and move on.
I know it just it still irks me. It irks me so much. I hate that's
No, I get it.
if there's one thing I hate most about this film. It's that moment. But even still, Ray and Leia have a beautiful moment consoling each other. But it's still that moment still irks me. But my boy, he wakes up. My boy, Darth 2D2, wakes up from his slumber and goes,
no power, man.
bitches, I got the map. It's right here. All you had to do was ask. That's all you had to do. And thus, we get to go on to the final journey. Rey, Chewie, R2 go off to find Luke. Don't do a funeral for Han. That's another choice I think they should have had, is why there was no Han funeral.
It was originally supposed to be in the opening scenes of
Or
episode
Jedi.
8. Yeah. It was one of the it was planned originally for that, and then it got scrapped, and then made it into the books. So again, it's something that's happened. Just
Yeah, you don't need to show the funeral for every character that dies in the saga, you know.
It's Han Solo, Brian.
But seriously, funerals just bring the movies
Cool,
down to a
it's Han
crawl.
Solo.
Okay,
You know
move
what?
on.
Fucking cremate him, put him into a fucking a torpedo canister and launch his ass into fucking space, or fly to fucking Tatooine and blow up Jabba's palace. Just one final fuck you from Han Solo.
That or put his vase in the Falcon.
But they don't have his body. His body fell down that pit and then blew up with Star Killer.
For sentimental reasons, Brian. Goddamn. But yeah, they fly off. They go to see Luke, and we basically get the opening to. No, that's not the opening of Last Jedi, because they start with the fight in Last Jedi, right?
It's the opening of Rey's portion of the
Yeah,
last.
I'm just saying the movie opens up with fight.
Yeah, I'm holding for General Hugs.
Yeah, that's how it doesn't start with Rey. That's like 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah,
but,
it's scene like 3.
Yeah, but yes, and thus we end The Force Awakens. Like I said, probably when we do come out with our rankings, this one's gonna be 1 or 2 in my eyes. Let's face it, it's probably 1.
Let's face it, this is gonna be number 2 because Attack of the Clones is gonna be your number 1.
It's not fucking Attack of the Clones. I love Attack of the Clones, but it's definitely not gonna be 1 or 2. Shut up, Ryan. But it's no. Well, ultimately, bottom line for me when it comes to Force Awakens, we've been talking about it through this whole thing. Even though Han death aside, out of all the Star Wars films, if I'm ever in a bad mood or a sad mood, and I need something to make me feel better, Force Awakens always puts me in a good fucking mood. It makes me happy with Rey, Finn, Poe, the Falcon scene, the TIE fighter scenes, everything that this movie does outside of Han's death, because that's a sad moment. This movie just makes me happy.
I'm getting big signals from you. The movie with the least R2D2 in it.
It's so shockingly, yes, but it gives us BB-8. How's that shit work, Brian? My favorite character is barely using this movie, but yet it's my favorite one.
Right.
They use him when they need him. But they also once again prove R2 is always needed for Star Wars to work. But yeah, bottom line, that's why I love this movie so much. It just makes me feel good. Out of all these movies, this is the one from beginning to Han death, I guess. Just makes me happy as I'm watching it. Like the other ones make me happy too, but for some reason this one just, I don't know, maybe it's because Daisy's got these, these fresh new eyes. Like I said, she's so happy being in it, and it just makes me happy as I'm watching it. And like I said, we get to see the Falcon for the first time ride the way it's supposed to ride. That's why I love this movie. On top of everything that we've already discussed with this film, those are my final thoughts when it comes to Force Awakens. Let's go to Ryan. Final thoughts on Force Awakens.
All right. First of all, thanks for having me. Second of all, I saw this movie 6 times in the theater. I've never done that for any other movie in my entire life when it comes to seeing it in a cinema. So me seeing this movie 6 times in the theater should tell you something. I love this movie to pieces. It is my favorite Star Wars movie so far. Not because you're gonna know it. Come on. It's my favorite right now. I still love it to this day. I still get smiles. I still get a smile on my face during certain sequences and certain scenes with certain characters. I think the score is great. At the end of the movie, the first time I saw it, I was sitting. My friend was sitting next to me, but I was going nuts. I was wooing like Ric Flair, and I was saying thank you, JJ. And then I said, "Greatest of all time." I said, "This is the GOAT for me, anyway." I know I'm still young, and I know I got 100 million other movies I got to watch before I, kick some buckets. But I'm telling you, for me, at the end of the night, this was the GOAT for me. This is the greatest cinematic experience I've ever had in my life. It is the greatest movie I've ever watched. I've ever been a part of seeing in a theater with all these people. I just was on cloud 9 times 1,000. So at the end of the
better than Endgame.
yes,
Okay.
I thought yes.
You don't have to
Better
go
than
any
Endgame.
further. I just wanted a yes or no. Better than Endgame for you.
Yes, 100%
All right.
yes. So in closing, I just want to thank everyone who worked on this movie. I want to thank all the cast members, all the crew. Great film, great experience. Saw it 6 times in the theater. I love The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens for life, no matter what. I love this movie. And Sean, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Ryan. You definitely did way better than we all expected you to do. Not that we thought you were going to suck, but for being your first on the first show, especially with us three, because we're all kind of hard to deal with at times. You did a very good job.
I mean, I mean, if I am one with the Force is with me. So I got this.
Wrong movie. But Brian, let's go to you.
Still Star Wars, though.
It is. Very
I like Ryan. We like to have different perspectives on here, and whereas all of us, I think, get a little bit more jaded. He's just like pure fanboy, loves this, and that's fine. That's a good thing. I'm saying it's good.
We
But
needed that. We needed that.
Need that childlike innocence.
Thoughts on Force Awakens.
Yes. My final thoughts. I love this movie. It was like all my fears were allayed. It was everything I hoped it would be. It introduced me to some great new characters, especially in Rey. I was really, it ended the minute it ended. You're wondering, where's it going to go from here? I mean, of course, it ends with a cliffhanger with Luke. So it's like, really, you're going to make us wait 2 years now for this?
Yeah.
But I love the movie. If I was going to rank it, it's.
You don't have to give it right now. Like I said, we're gonna have it.
I'm not, but just to give you an idea, it's not gonna be number one for me. But I mean, I would have no problem if someday I thought it was, because I think it's a great movie. But it's probably gonna end up around the 3 range for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say. I love it.
All right, Jay. For someone who coming through these episodes made it seem like you were going to attack this movie profusely because that's how you portrayed it. It didn't seem like you really hated this movie at all.
What did I tell you at the beginning of the movie?
I know that.
At the beginning of the talk.
I know that. I know that.
Sure.
I know that. But you gotta admit, Jay, over the last few episodes, you had been talking up that it was going to be you and me in like a Last Jedi kind of fight over The Force Awakens. Did you not?
Not really. I mean, you brought that. No. You kind of hyped that one up more than anything else. The only one I'm hyping up is me versus Kirk. He said, "Play it off, play it up." No, again, Ryan, thank you for showing up, buddy. I don't want you to think that any one of what I say. I don't want it to shade anything that you think of this movie. I don't want to sway you from thinking any way about this movie. You enjoy the hell out of this movie. I enjoy Star Wars, dude. We all enjoy the hell out of Star Wars. It's just certain ones I like to nitpick, and go back and watch episode 5. Episode 5 is my #1 Star Wars movie of all time, and I picked the shit out of that movie. The only movie that I nitpicked harder than that was Attack of the Clones, but that's because Attack of the Clones deserved it. A majority of my issue with this movie doesn't stem from so it stems from the similarities between episode 4 and this one, but also I hate people. So Star Wars fans can kind of ruin Star Wars for other Star Wars fans. Kind of like we all know certain Dark Knight fans who can ruin a fucking Dark Knight trilogy for people. It gets a little hectic to deal with, and it makes watching this movie a chore almost to a lot of people. But I like a lot of the things that happen in this movie. I don't particularly like J.J. Abrams a whole bunch. Like, I like 09 fine, Lost was okay, but like I don't really watch a whole lot of fucking J.J. Abrams work. And it's okay. Everybody knows it's J.J. Abrams for the lens flare. There wasn't a whole lot here, but when there is, you're gonna just point and laugh and be like, "Hi, it's J.J. Abrams and the lens flare." But I like this movie. Like I said, this movie will land somewhere probably in my top 5. I watched it today while I was at work and was like, damn, I have to talk about this movie. And I'm not going to talk a lot, I'm not going to talk shit about this movie, but I'm going to point out what I like about the movie and what I don't like about the movie. And regardless of whether or not somebody has a differing opinion than mine over this movie, it's better than just running into a fucking wall like I'm talking to people who hated The Last Jedi. Like, oh no, you're stupid for liking that fucking movie. I don't think anybody's stupid for liking this movie. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. One thing that we kind of glossed over, and it still confuses me about this movie. Everybody remembers watching the first trailer. The hit of nostalgia real deep in everybody when you have Han Solo saying, "Chewie, we're home." Nobody thought, where the fuck is Han Solo? Like, why didn't he have the Millennium Falcon? What? And then we don't get a whole lot of an explanation behind it. So like there are certain things where I'm just like, I'd like a little more in some places, I'd like a little less in other places. But
I thought
really
they explained it. They explained what happened or why you left.
I could have done a flashback. That's what you could take. That's what you could change that Rathtar scene from. Change that to a.
We got him.
Hey, I'm agreeing with you. Okay, if I were to take something out and if we're gonna take that scene out, cool. Give me a. Okay, cool. He loses it to Decane in a fucking Sabak game, like, in another movie that nobody's ever gonna talk about because it's called Fast and the Furious in Outer Space, and yeah. But yeah. No, I love Star Wars, bro. That's why I enjoy talking about it.
And that's why we're doing this in the first place. We're not doing this just for the sake of doing it. We're doing it because we all love Star Wars. We're excited for episode 9 coming down the pipe here in what, 10 days now? I think we're shooting this on the 9th. This is not going to get released until this upcoming Wednesday. But yeah, we're 10 days out. We're all super excited. We all cannot wait for this movie. But yes, that's why we do it. We love these films, even the ones we hate. We still love.
I do this because I'm getting paid.
Yeah. Big checks in the mail, bud. But don't cash it until like 3 Fridays from now. Yeah. But I mean, even the ones we hate, like Phantom Menace, we hate that movie, or Attack of the Clones for Jay. But how many times? But we've watched those shitty movies more times than movies that we love because it's
every time it's on.
Because it's Star Wars, and we love Star Wars, and we hope that you all love Star Wars too, which is why we hope you guys are watching these long videos. If you guys are ever part of these videos, like Ryan, like Kevin, like Brian, like Jay, like Kirk or Douglas, and you guys are going, why the hell are your videos 2 hours long to talk about a movie? This is why. Because we like fucking talking about this shit, and we like to ramble on. And for anyone who loves these movies and understands that, then you know why these movies are long. Because if you get in a good conversation with a group of people, time flies. Did it feel like 2.5 hours? No, it did not feel like 2.5 hours. I probably will watching us talk about it for 2.5 hours, but hey, that's the way it works. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, go and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this video is worth sharing, go and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on Sean's Movie Crusades. Coming up next, it's time. Jay's been training. Kirk's been training. It's the main event, guys. It's the Last Jedi fight. A match that has been built up for a year now between these two. Since the first night we all met each other, this has been brewing, and I can't wait to see what happens. Punches will be thrown, blood will be spilled, tears will be shed. Pride will be broken. Brian will choke on popcorn at some point during the fight. I'm sure we will have to separate them at certain points and probably drop them out of the feed so they can calm down. That's what's about to happen. I can't wait for you guys to join us for that. But before we go, Ryan, where can the people find you at if they want to follow you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Make sure to check out my podcast. It's called The Nerdcast, where I review movies past and present. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to do all that stuff. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel known as Nerd Culture. We're on Twitter and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. You can find us there. We have our 12 days of Nerd Culture counting down some videos, brand new content for you on our channel. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And I hope to see you all next time.
Ryan Michaels, where can the people find you?
You know what? Tonight I'll just go with Letterboxd. Go in Letterboxd under the name Cinemaphile. You want to add me? See lists, reviews, all that kind of good stuff. That's all you need to know.
And Jay Burns, where can
You're not getting something from me like that.
I'm not getting it. Not getting it tonight.
Not this time.
Not getting talking trash to alt porn stars and play them in games with some box so they send you their butthole pictures. We're not getting that tonight.
No, not tonight.
All right. Then we're gonna Jay.
Shit. On the internet is where you can find me. You can find me on Facebook at Jay Burns. You can find me on Sean's Movie Crusades at the beginning of next year, actually, this next upcoming month. I'm starting a 365-day movie challenge. I'm going to be dropping 5 to 10 minute reviews of the movies that I watch, and the first month will be all movies that are not in English. So be prepared for it to be a whole lot of damn. I had to read a lot.
Yeah. Yes. That's why he's so mad about reading earlier, because he had to watch so many foreign films. Yes. We're working on a title. If you guys have a title, leave it in the comments. We'll see if we might use it. But yes, until next time, Movie Crusaders, in case we don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and may the force be with you.
I'll see you in hell.